All right, everybody. Audio sound good? Huh? You like that audio? Hmm? Let me pop out this chat. Make it easier for me. Yeah, you guys can hear me all right, right? Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Testing, testing. Finally, it was taking forever to pop out of my chat. At 7:40, yeah, it's basically 7:40. For the record, you guys know what time I usually start my streams, right? Hmm? You guys know the time that I usually start my streams. Camera is laggy? No, it's not. Nah. What do you mean it's laggy? What does that even mean? How can the camera be laggy? So, okay, I was slightly late in starting the stream because I did promise a very ambitious 7:30 EST. Now, the thing is, most of you know that normally I start my streams when? I try to start them around 8 EST. So, in the big picture, this was an early stream start, right? This was a very early stream compared to normal streams. Miriam, what's up? Oh, wait, hold on. We gotta mod Miriam before we forget. Or is Miriam already a mod? Did I forget? No, Miriam's already a mod. Alright, so we already took care of that. Zachariah Zach Zorro says bounties of both wings after Wano will be why. Alright, here is my... You guys are gonna make fun of this. Nah, but whatever. Alright. Here is my view on the bounties for Zoro and Sanji post Wano. Okay? So it's a little tricky. But my take is, you guys know that I put out that video explaining that Luffy's bounty, in my opinion, would be 5 billion after Wano, right? So Luffy's bounty would be 5 billion after Wano. It depends heavily, for the rest of the crew, it depends very heavily on how many more bounties we're going to get before the end of the story. So I give a long reasoning as to why Luffy's bounty we're set for a very big jump, because that is the purpose of bounties. The purpose of bounties at the end of the arc is generally to give us a very big, shocking, surprising, and cathartic jump, right? It's supposed to feel very, very exciting for the reader. It's supposed to be bigger than we expect. That's generally the case with bounties. Things like Marineford and Dressrosa, I already explained why those were essentially the exception to the rule, okay? I refrained from talking about the other Straw Hats bounties in those videos, in that Luffy video, because I knew that once I start getting into the nitty-gritty, then people are really, really going to start complaining about certain things. So I think both Zoro and Sanji at minimum passed 1 billion berry, and definitely, Sanji's bounty will be higher than Queen's, and Zoro's bounty will definitely be higher than King's. So easily in the billion berry range. There's no question in my mind that that is going to happen, okay? That both Zoro and Sanji's bounties will be much, much higher than they are currently, and they're going to go past King and Queen. So the simple reason for that is it's just more satisfying to see the protagonists' bounties surpass the antagonists. Yes, technically they haven't been playing at Pirates as long as the Beast Pirates, but that's not the purpose of Oda giving us the bounties at the end of the arc, right? You want to feel like the Straw Hat crew has surpassed the Beast Pirate crew. You want to feel like they've blown past them, right? So Oda is going to put Zoro's bounty higher than King's, Sanji's bounty higher than Queen's. Sanji's bounty might be higher than King's as well. We don't know what King's bounty is yet. But I'm definite on that. In terms of what exactly the bounties will be, it's tricky because it depends on how far Oda wants to go, because I don't think that the gap between Luffy and Zoro is, in terms of bounty, is going to be that big, but even I feel like a little hesitant to say something like, oh, Zoro's going to have like a 3 billion berry bounty or something like that. So I would say Zoro's at minimum 1.8. Reason being, I think very often Oda likes to do some multiple of 3 for Zoro. I know not for the most recent bounty, he didn't do that. but that was because with the most recent bounty, it was just Zoro's previous bounty of 120 plus another 200 mil. But usually I think Oda likes to do some multiple of 3 for Zoro's bounties, so I wouldn't be surprised at 1.8 bill. So something 1.8 bill and up for Zoro, and Sanji I don't know. All I know is that I believe it would be higher than Queen. Maybe a little bit higher, maybe a lot higher, I don't know. Old Dirty Priest. It's quite a name. Why was King so worried about Zoro? Well, I think you are going to get the answer that you want if you're a Zoro fan here. I don't know if this is kind of one of those fishing for compliments sort of things, you know, how someone just wants to hear something good said about their favorite character, but I think it's obvious. Zoro is a very, very strong character, as we saw from the rooftop. The next strongest in the Straw Hats after Luffy. So, of course King would be worried for Zoro getting back up. And you might be like, well, how would King know that Zoro is strong? I think sometimes in One Piece it's kind of just, it's not even observation hockey. Strong characters just get the sense when other characters are particularly strong, and we know that Zoro carries a certain aura with him and everything like that. There's a certain hype to Zoro that I think everybody sort of picks up on. Behanor, thanks a lot. Who is talking right now? Morge or Lorge? Morge's alternate personality who makes him believe stupid theories like Thomas Teapot. Right now you've got Morge, so ask any sort of serious questions. Morning Mortality King is a Kotengo. Look it up, not Tengu. Yeah, I threw out Tengu as an option. Let me take a look at what Kotengo is. So Morning Morality says King is a Kotengu. Let's all look that up. If I was a better streamer, I'd have the display up right now, but I don't. So a Kotengu, maybe I can throw that up. Let me see if we can get an image of a Kotengu. See, the thing is that isn't this very similar to a Tengu? Guys, if you look up Kotengu, it's like the same thing as a Tengu, but it just has a beak, and it's more bird stylized. So I'm with you, I can see it. The thing is that I don't know if it would be a Japanese lore type species just because most of One Piece's other species aren't actually based on Japanese lore, right? So it's more so in Wano, but we are in Wano, so that is maybe why Oda would choose to go with a Japanese species route for this. Sam Regan, thanks a lot. Do you think Usopp will get a legendary moment during the raid, or will Oda save it for Elbaf? I mean, I don't think that Oda is ever going to, he's not going to have an arc where a Straw Hat just gets, an arc this important, he's not going to write it where, Usopp just gets nothing. I think that that's very, very unlikely. As to whether or not it'll happen during the raid, I don't know, because Usopp does feel like a little bit out for the count at the moment. There's not really a moment that we can see at this point in time where sniping seems like it would be very valuable. But again, we didn't really see that with Sugar either, so the Sugar moment was a bit of a surprise. So I think if it were to happen during the raid, then it would be something sniping related that we would see, something that essentially only Usopp can do. But I still prefer the idea of Usopp being taken hostage, and because that just fits more so with what seems to have been set up for his character and what his character seems to have been struggling with mentally over the course of really since Zoe, but specifically during Act 2 of Wano. That was the big thing that Usopp was talking about. And it even almost came up in a small way with the Nami situation, with Usopp basically saying, oh, it's fine to lie, or it's fine to, you don't have to stay strong right here because you're under the threat of death or whatever, right? So I think Usopp being put into a similar situation, but this time being tortured for some other purpose, would be really, really good for his character. So that's really what I want to see from Usopp. And then action-wise, I would expect something sniping related. Aliath, thanks a lot. Mr. Morge, I have a theory that's probably wrong about... You got a theory that's funny. I don't see people usually lead by saying I have a theory that's probably wrong. I have a theory that's probably wrong about how Wano's name changing / being revealed to have been something else by the end of the arc. Aliath, you're not expanding on it. You just said I have a theory. I don't. There's nothing I can really do with that theory at the moment because I have no idea what you're talking about. But if you want to expand, then people look out for Aliath's comment coming forward. Dresser says, whoa, Morge actually early today. Yeah, and people had the nerve to accuse me of being late. I was so early today. Normally I stream 8 p.m. EST or later. I can't even pretend for it to be 8 p.m. EST. I had the ambition today to start streaming at 7:30 EST. And I was a little bit late. But, apparently being a little bit late to being early is still being late. That doesn't make any sense to me. By my count, I started streaming 15 minutes early, but people are telling me I streamed 15 minutes late. I'm going by my normal time of 8 EST, so from my perspective, I was 15 minutes early. I hope you all can agree with me. Edward Roman. Oh, god damn it, Edward. Get out of here. Hi, Morge. Do you think, Hey, Edward. Hi, Morge. Do you think that Nika, the sun god, was the same race as King, and that is why they were persecuted into extinction? Oh, that's an interesting idea. But I would think that, you know, if we assume that Nika, however you want to say it, was the same race as King, I always assumed that it would all, like, the original Joy Boy was a member of the D tribe, right? Some said the king of the D tribe, whatever that means. But then again, the Ds did have a lot of different races involved. So, like the Giants, for example, I would assume that Nika was executed or exterminated for the same reason the rest of the D tribe was exterminated. Not necessarily because he was King's race, but that's an interesting idea. Don, thanks a lot. If Robin can learn Fishman Karate, could Chopper learn Electro? Love that idea. Oh, guys, that's an awesome theory. I really like that theory, Dom. Really like that theory. I'm going to write that down. I'll write it down, but also give you a bit of, what do you call credit for that if that theory ever goes up for me in some context. What's an empty notepad? Because I'm trying to think of like theories for all of the Straw Hats getting power-ups, essentially. But I was stumped on Chopper, but that's a great idea. So guys, remember, you heard it here first. Dom suggesting that Chopper's power-up might be Electro. I think that's a really cool idea. I was talking last stream about Chopper and the Minx. Dom, Electro. Alright, what was I saying? So, what do we have next? Morning Morality. Do you have a Discord? Also, should the remaining Straw Hats fight Jack as a team after Emu dies? All the stars versus the All-Stars. What? Do I have a Discord? Also, should the remaining Straw Hats fight Jack as a team after Emu dies? All the stars versus the All-Stars. No, I don't think so. And I keep saying Emu. I know you're saying Inu. I'm just saying Emu as word association just because that's the name that's more common. No, I don't necessarily think so. I think either let Inu have it or let the Beast Pirates win in general and Jack gets his win. Ectoplasticity. Does Zorro have the team fight I would like to see from the Straw Hats is the Straw Hats versus Kaido. So I don't think they need one for Jack in the middle. Ectoplasticity. Thanks a lot. Does Zorro have Conquerors or is Ashura the curse of Kitetsu or both? Does Zorro have Conquerors or is Ashura the curse of Kitetsu or both? I think Zorro has Conquerors. I think that's pretty straightforward. I think Zorro has Conquerors. Simplest answer to that. I don't think it's anything more complicated than that. Bahanort, 820 billion for Zorro, surpassing Luffy's 1.82 billion. That makes more sense. Surpassing Luffy's 1.5. Yeah, whatever Zorro gets, I'm confident it's going to be higher than what Luffy had. Mr. Fan 09, King could be a mixed race Skypian and this fire race. I don't know if that's mixed Skypian race. That would be interesting. Yeah, we haven't really gotten any more details on something like that. Red X says Nami will become a ninja. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting based on how Nami started Act 1. She didn't actually pick up any ninja skills. I'm actually still a little disappointed that, Act 2 specifically, we didn't get to see more of the Straw Hats in their little undercover roles. I know that would have dragged the story on too long. I think Sanji's the only one we got like a little bit of focus time on. Robin being a geisha was important as well. But I don't know, I would have liked a little bit more time with the Straw Hats in those roles. Captain Face says, how can Luffy beat Kaido in the next 15 minutes when it took him 12 hours to beat Katakuri? So if Momo holds up Onigashima for more than an hour, if the fight goes on for hours, yeah, I think no matter what, Momo holding Onigashima up for an hour, for example, would make sense for, Momo holding Onigashima up for an hour would make sense for mirroring what Odin did. So, 1, Kaido's already taken some hits, some damage, etc. 2, if there is some team effort involved, then Luffy wouldn't have to essentially do it all in one go like he did against Katakuri. 3, I don't think Luffy's beating Kaido here, so I don't think it's relevant. Fun fact, guys. So you guys know Uteron, right? So Uteron mentioned that chapter 1031, the wordplay for that's interesting, is something like Heavenly Descent. So he theorizes that's the chapter that Onigashima comes down, which I'm all for, because that sounds to me like that's if you go back to my Onigashima video on what the purpose of Onigashima is and what's probably going to happen to it, I talked about how I think that Onigashima coming down in the center of the Flower Capital would be a great way to end Act 3. So that is personally how I think things are going to play out, and I'm glad to hear that Uteron agrees. If you don't trust me, trust the Japanese YouTuber who's the talk of the town these days, who, you know, he knows his numbers, he knows his wordplay. Young Master, thanks a lot. Do you think there are other race-based abilities? King's race, fire attacks, Minx, electric, Fishman, water? It's really, really hard to say, because it's really, I mean, I don't think that the long leg or long arm tribe, we know Ideo had explosive punches, but I think that's Ideo specific. I don't think Apu, I would expect him to have that. Jon Snow, my new favorite viewer. Hey Morge, will Advanced Conqueror's Haki nullify the Yami Yami no Mi because they have to touch the target to work? So here's how I've thought about it. I believe that Luffy's, so Blackbeard, at least the two abilities that he has right now, Yami Yami no Mi and Gura Gura no Mi, I think Luffy will be able to counter him in two ways. So I think the Rubber Fruit, Goma Goma no Mi, is a hard counter to the Gura Gura no Mi, because, you know, you can just kind of think about it and understand why the Rubber Fruit counters that. But secondly, Blackbeard has the Darkness Fruit, so I think that Haki will be the key to countering Blackbeard's Darkness Fruit. So I think, basically, at least the way I've thought about it, is that Luffy will be the perfect matchup against Blackbeard by the end of the story, because on both ends of Blackbeard's Devil Fruit, you get to see both sides of Luffy's abilities essentially countering him. So Luffy, in terms of Haki, counters the Yami Yami no Mi, and Luffy, in terms of his Gum Fruit, counters the Gura Gura no Mi. SMZ99 says, if Big Mom attacks Kid, will Hawkins get affected? I don't think so. I don't think we know enough about Hawkins' fruit, but as far as I understand, I don't think that that's how that works. I'm not 100% sure. Where were we at? Morning Morality says X Drake will replace Law on the crew. I don't really understand. I don't think that makes sense. Will replace Law on the crew. What crew? Law's crew? He'll become the cap? I don't think it works like that. I don't think you just become the like if a crew's just missing a captain spot, then you just fill in like that as captain. Epic Mark says, hi Morge, could you shout out the post I just tweeted at you? It has a certain point, are we the red line that might relate to your end of series prediction? Let's take a look, everyone. So a post that was just tweeted at me. Let's take a look-see. This is by Epic Mark. Alright guys, go to my Twitter or go to reddit.onepiece.com, translation notes about the latest chapter, if you want to see Marco's latest theory. So either I'll give it a like, so you can see my likes on Twitter and go check it out there, or you can go to Reddit and check it out, check it out there. Groovy Zeno says, who from the Strats would benefit the most from interacting with Lucky Roo? He's supposed to be the fastest in the Red-Haired Pirates. Is that true, or is that just some fan theory that we made up that Lucky Roo's the fastest in the Red-Haired Pirates? Here's the thing. I think anybody on the Red-Haired Pirates, literally anybody, top to bottom, could have speed blitzed that random guy on Higuma's crew and shot him, you know? I don't think that's necessarily Lucky Roo being the fastest, but hey, maybe it's the case. Who knows? Mr. Ave Maddox says, I'll take the Chopper theory a step further. A mink rumble ball is made and Chopper can go so long. Big stretch, but fun to think about. Dude, that is awesome. And that is an idea by Mr. Ave Maddox. No, that's too... I'm not even going to write that one down. I really like that theory, though. That is great. Guys, props to Mr. Ave Maddox. I don't like writing this stuff down because then you got to credit to... I'll still write it down. Mr. Ave Maddox. Sulong Rumble Ball. That's a cool idea. Old Dirty Priest. So watch out if I do a video about Straw Hat power-ups or something like that. Hold me to it. I've got to credit Dom and Mr. Ave Maddox. So, Old Dirty Priest says Shanks and Luffy will defeat Blackbeard and Elbaf. I think Blackbeard's an endgame villain. I think at least he makes it to Raftel. Nihaim Siyum says, do you think Zorro gets a new sword by the end of Wano? Yes, because there is a sword maker in Wano, and also Nidai Katetsu. So two things. So one, is it Hitetsu? Sorry, I just, Tama's mentor. I forget his name sometimes. So Hitetsu, I think that he could potentially make Zoro's sword. Or secondly, the Nidai Kitetsu, Zoro is supposed to pick that up before the end of the... oh wait, I should write that down as well. Zoro doesn't have all of his swords yet. Anytime I remember a little raid fail point, I gotta write it down. So Zoro doesn't have his Nidai Kitetsu yet. He's supposed to get that before the end of the arc. That just makes sense. Martin Castro says, unpopular opinion, Wano has been disappointing. It's so bloated and too many characters we don't care about, taking up screen time, / page time. I hope the cast goes back to a more reasonable size after this. Thoughts? Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I think that we've had limited focus on the Scabbards with Odin. We've had focus on the Scabbards, but they are a very large group, so it's been, fairly scattered. I can say that I care about Kinemon, for example, but it's hard to say that, we got as much time invested on the Scabbards and their emotional bond with Odin as we have with past backstories where it's been more one-to-one with the characters. So, Robin and Saul, Nami, Bellamere, Chopper, Hiruluk, etc. And those are generally stronger emotional bonds because you spend more time on it and fleshing it out. Odin's backstory was really just about Odin. It was not that much about the Scabbards, and it definitely was not much about Odin and the Scabbards bonding. It was mainly about Odin and then him passing on his will to the Scabbards as he died. But because we really didn't spend much time on, chapter 962, I believe, that was a chapter that flew by, and that was the single chapter we essentially got to see Odin fleshing out his bond with all of the Scabbards, and it flew by. It was a montage chapter. So there's that aspect of that, and then the flip side of that is the Straw Hats. Straw Hats had no storylines for the majority of them, essentially, for Act 1 and Act 2. Only Luffy and Zoro had some sort of little plot lines that got them invested in some ways, but for the most part, the Straw Hats didn't really have anything to do and were basically passive bystanders with no real story arcs for them throughout that time. So that's why the fights that we're getting, I can enjoy the fights for what they are, but I'm not emotionally invested in what the characters have been through because they haven't been through that much. And then the Scabbards are the Scabbards, so they're their own separate group. And I'm somewhat interested, but their drama isn't that captivating for me. Aspects of it are, so I like Momonosuke a lot, I like Kinemon a lot. You guys saw my tier list that I did last time. I like those characters a lot, but still not quite there for me. And then we have characters like Yamato that are being shoved in that, Yamato's just character out of nowhere with no sort of, there's just very little to her so far, and it does feel like she's taking up a lot of screen time already. So, strongly hope and believe that this is not the end of the arc. I definitely still think that the Tobiropo are not defeated. Definitely still think that King and Queen aren't going to go down this easily. And definitely think that, end of Act 3 is not going to be, the Straw Hats' victory or something like that. So, just keep that in mind. Hey, we got a lot of super chats flying right now. Hold on, guys. Let me make sure I'm not missing anyone. Anime All Day TV, with the Flying Six defeated, raid failing is dead. No, the Flying Six, I just heavy doubt that the Flying Six are defeated. Literally the only one that actually felt like a legitimate climactic fight was the Robin one. So I would take, 4 definitely not feeling climactic and ambiguous sort of defeats over one that it does at least feel somewhat climactic. I'm kind of balancing it out. Also the fact that they have not shown awakening whatsoever. Also the fact that generally when Oda is trying to defeat all the villains in a row, he doesn't really announce small victories like, oh, all of these members of CP9 are defeated, all of these members of Baroque Works are defeated. Normally it's everyone gets defeated. That's when you kind of do the big sweep through and this person lost. And then you get to Luffy versus the big bad. And then that's basically it. I do feel like these are premature celebrations. We have not even seen the awakenings of the Tobiropo. I would be very shocked and disappointed if Oda did not write awakenings for these characters. Considering literally the first Devil Fruit awakenings that we saw and were stressed to us in the series were zone awakenings from Impel Down guards, right? Ancient, or these are the Tobiropo, so Kaido's elite zones. I'd be very surprised if Impel Down, very weak Impel Down guards had zones and were had awakened zones and the Tobiropo do not. So for me, doubting that the Tobiropo are defeated, if they are defeated, then all I can say is that that was fairly disappointing for the most part, except for Robin's fight, because Robin's fight was of course really good. But aside from that, just the fact that you see so much discussion about are the Tobiropo really defeated? Those fights felt disappointing, anticlimactic. Why don't they have awakenings, etc.? That's very common conversation. not just coming from me. You see that everywhere. You see a lot of people talking about that. To me, I would err on the side of like, no, Oda's not going to have it be this easy and the Tobiropo are not just defeated, rather than thinking that, oh, Oda just kind of skimped on all of these fights. David Jerry Long says, do you see the anime catching up to the manga by the end of the year, possible by October 31st? I have no idea. I hope that it's hard for the anime to write in a filler arc right here, right? Like, I think that if they wanted to write in a filler arc, they should have done that in the week leading up to the battle, because that was essentially a open for filler week in the manga as well. So it's hard to say, like, how the anime would really do it right now, time-wise, because, yeah, we're just in the midst of battle. It's hard to write a filler arc right here. It would have to be something like Naruto-esque, where you just cut away to, like, totally random stuff for a while, like, completely unrelated episodes, because it's hard to write filler that fits into the flow of the story as it's going right now. Koa Fam says, I still don't understand how Sanji's able to go toe-to-toe with Queen. I understand Luffy went through training, but did Sanji? So Sanji going toe-to-toe with Queen, that's probably going to be the biggest, quote-unquote, power scaling discrepancy that we're going to see here. I think we do have to assume that Sanji did get a lot stronger. It's just, so Oda's done this in the past with Sanji, where he just sneakily moves him to be stronger throughout the story, and it was less obtrusive pre-time skip, because, for example, in Enies Lobby, right? Think about Enies Lobby. If you were caring about power scaling between the events of Alabasta through Enies Lobby, then Sanji being able to fight Jaibura back then makes no sense, because at that time, imagine, base Luffy, right? Sanji was far behind base Luffy for a long time. Then we get to Enies, and that was clear. Consistent from Alabasta through Skypiea through Water 7. Then we get to Enies Lobby. And what we see is that base Luffy goes about even with Blueno, could probably have taken Blueno in base form, but he goes to Gear 2nd to take him out, okay? But then base Sanji is able to take on, out of nowhere, he's able to take on Jaibura, who's way, way, way stronger than Blueno. So right there, yeah, he needed Diablo Jambe to defeat him, but just in terms of straight combat, he was going perfectly even with Jaibura, and was like basically going toe-to-toe with him, right? So if you really cared about power scaling back then, which less people did because the levels of the world were less established, then yeah, Oda's always been a little sneaky with Sanji, but this is probably the biggest instance of it, because it's kind of like, it's harder for Oda to be sneaky with it, because without readers raising questions, because like, we've seen Sanji, this in the New World, we've seen Sanji struggle in various ways that you can give excuses to, but it's still consistent. Like, we've never really seen Sanji have a big win in the New World, or like really anything that establishes he's anywhere close to the commanders in it or anything like that. By all accounts, if you were to line up all of Sanji's scuffles throughout the New World, it's not like an amazing resume. It suggests he's definitely not close to the commanders, right? And then at the same time, Oda's put a lot of time into stressing how Luffy needs to sort of progress, taking on Doflamingo and then Cracker and then Katakuri, and how each individual step is like a huge push forward by him to reach a new level, to train on something, to develop a new gear, new form, new hockey ability, etc. And, so it feels like Luffy just keeps getting stronger and stronger, and we really, really care about Luffy's progression, and a lot of emphasis is placed on how it's such a climb or such a struggle for Luffy to keep progressing, whereas Sanji never really feels like Oda's showing him any signs of improvement. So that's why it feels like a huge random jump that, like, whoa, how is Sanji suddenly able to do the stuff that Luffy took so much time and emphasis and focus for Luffy to be able to do in the past, right? Like, Luffy threw Luffy against Cracker, and that was already Luffy getting knocked around pretty bad at the start of that fight, and at least for most of that fight. But Sanji's having a very easy time with Queen. So my answer is basically, I don't have a good answer. So hopefully Sanji loses, as I believe he will. I don't think Zoro and Sanji beat Queen here. My hope is that they won't beat Queen and King. I think Oda will pull, hopefully, what I believe he's pulling with the Tobiropo, which is taking them down without too much difficulty. Again, the lack of difficulty is what is really striking to me throughout all of these scenarios, except for Robin versus Black Maria. I mean, Sanji was having an easy time against Queen so far, and now that Zoro and Sanji came back, it does feel like they're just set up to wipe the floor with King and Queen. So I hope we get something like that, and then a bit of a turntable in the coming chapters. So, let's see. Morning Morality says X-Ray will team up with Luffy, maybe join the crew. Oh, I see what you're saying. Maybe join the crew as the final member after Carrot. P.S. Found your Discord. Lots of cool ideas on there. Got to go by. All right. Hopefully you went to go check out the Discord. Yeah, guys, go check out the Discord if you want to do something for the rest of your night after the stream. X-Drake will team up with Luffy. I don't think X-Drake's joining the crew. I think it's a little too fast for his character. I think we need more time with his character for something like that to happen. Epic Mark says RL point. Shoot. Sorry, these are just flying back by. Let me slow down. Let me slow down. Oh, JD's here. JD says, well said. I don't know what JD's even responding to here. Assume something that I said. Thanks, Jay. Ish Naveen, definitely don't want to miss this. Thank you for the big donation. Hi, Morge. How does Sanji manifest the fire for his Diablo Jambe? Also, what aspect of Sanji's skill set do you expect to be improved during the fight with Queen? Observation Haki or an improved Diablo Jambe, perhaps? Keep up the awesome work, man. Thank you very much, Ish. Really, really appreciate that. That is a huge donation. Really appreciate that. So I would take Oda's word for it when Oda says Sanji's fire is produced from the heat inside his heart or something, or like the passion of his heart or something like that. He said something along those lines in an SBS. If you want a better explanation, I would say it's just through friction, right? So spinning around, heating up your foot. The reason it doesn't burn Sanji, as I understand, and this is more of a canon explanation, is that Sanji's a chef. Sanji is, like, heat doesn't get to Sanji that much because that's part of being a cook. Obviously, that, like, real-life chefs would get burned if their leg's on fire, but this is One Piece where certain traits are exaggerated a little bit. So being a chef in One Piece, a chef of Sanji's caliber, means that fire is not going to get to you that easily. So, what do I expect to be improved during this fight with Queen? I would hope... So, regardless of whether or not Sanji defeats King or Queen here, okay? Or Queen here, okay? Regardless of whether or not this is the final battle, I would hope that what is instrumental by the end of whenever he does defeat Queen is improving his observation haki. Because that is something that I believe that Sanji should have a skill in that is greater than what Luffy or Zoro do. And I hope it's not Future Sight, because that would simply be mimicking what Luffy has. I would hope it's some different aspect of observation haki that the other two don't have. So, Epic Mark says RL point Marco refers to the red line point. Marco refers to the red line as the red wall this chapter. It's never been called that before. Maybe relates to it being a wall to be brought down. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I don't know how much of that is just translations, but it is a wall to be taken down by the end of the story. I agree with that. Aliato5 says, Part 1. So this is Aliat's theory that we've been waiting on for a bit. Wano's name would become Japan's current name, Nihon. Nihon translates to sun's origin, aka land of the rising sun, as in the dawn. Okay, interesting. In between, Sean McAfee says love from Australia. Continuing on with the part 2 of the theory, Aliato5's theory. 2 out of 2. It would be fitting since Wano is where the dawn is about to begin. And it would mean the prologue and last chapters of the journey both begin on islands named after the dawn. That is actually really, really cool. So Oda has made a big deal about like Wano being a really big deal, right? Wano being a really big deal, and Wano being actually really, really close to the end of the story. So that would be like, so is Oda basically saying they went from East Blue all the way to Wano, and then maybe Wano's the farthest point in the Grand Line that they go to, and then after, no, because I would assume Elbaf and such is further, and they would still go to Lodestar Island. But that is interesting, right? So this is where the story comes full circle to the Dawn themes. I think that could be right. I do think Wano would have to be a longer arc for all of that to really make sense, but let's see. Alan Grinball says, okay, Morge, but if the raid doesn't fail, what are you going to do? Well, I'm obviously going to admit that I'm wrong, but let's wait till the end of Act 3. I'm tired of people telling me, like, no, Morge, just accept that you're wrong. No, I'm going to wait till the end of Act 3. There are literally still a lot of reasons why it wouldn't make sense for the raid to end right here, but I'm just going to wait till the end of Act 3. There are also a lot of reasons for why it makes sense that it would end here. I'm going to wait till the end of Act 3 to decide. The fact alone that Act 3 is not yet ended is, by the way, a big point in favor of the raid failing, but I don't want to debate that here. I would rather just get it all out in a video. I'm going to wait for the Zoro and Sanji fights to conclude. Once all the Strahd fights are concluded, that is when I will put out my next video giving my reasoning. Unless, of course, the Zoro and Sanji fights are so convincing that I'm just like, okay, obviously I'm wrong. This is the climax of the arc. Let's be done with it. So that's basically it. So wait till the end of Act 3. that is when I'll give up on this theory. Or the Zoro and Sanji fights are so convincing that I give up early. But besides that, I'm waiting till Act 3. That's it. Captain Face says, what's your opinion on Tengu Yamahitetsu? That's the full name. Is Odin's dad theory. Otherwise, random Kokeshi doll plotline. Orochi never confirmed Odin's dad's death. I don't know what the Kokeshi doll plotline. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's the thing. If you really search, there's so many individual little plot threads running through, like, just through the stream. The stuff that's being recalled. Zoro's sword. Kokeshi doll plotline. What is the history behind Tengu Yama? There's so many individual little plot threads that suggest that there's more to this arc and that there's a lot more to explore to this arc. But we'll just wait. Act 3 is not yet ended. Let's wait and see. Okay. Almost caught up on the supers, I think. Kai Aguero says, what if Zunisha ate a kibidango from ancient Kazuki member? Otama's power had been hyped up a lot, and I don't feel it was because of Smile users only. What? Oh, that is brilliant. This stream, I feel like we've gotten more really good theories than we have in a long time. That is an amazing theory. Kai Aguero, do this. Tweet that at me on Twitter, and I'll retweet it so that the world can see. All right, go do that right now, guys. Shouts to Kai Aguero. No one else try and steal this. All right, only the real Kai Aguero do it. I'll be able to tell if you're a fake and you tweet this at me. All right, go tweet this at me on Twitter, and I'll retweet this. It's a really cool theory. Really cool theory. In reality, though, it's more likely just related to the voice of all things and Momo being able to command Zunisha, right? So that's more so what's been established and what one would assume. But the Kibidango theory is a really cool idea. It's a really cool alternative, or maybe it's tied together in some way, though I don't think so. Johnny Man Yeet says, who will lead as captain if Luffy isn't present? Zoro. That's just how it's been. That's just how it's been. I think anytime so far that, anytime that the Strats have been without Luffy, it's always been, anytime that the Strats have been without Luffy, it's always been Zoro who leads the Straw Hats. That's just been a consistent recurring character dynamic throughout the story. Nanarbot says, mark my words, Kobe and Usopp will get conquerors. Yeah, I think Usopp for sure. Kobe, I don't know so much, but let's see. How is Randy not modded? I swear to God, Randy is modded. Unless this isn't the real Randy Troy. There's no way I don't have Randy modded. Okay, Randy's now modded. Behanort says, is the bisexual lighting here intentional? The lighting is... You guys, drop the lighting. The lighting looks cool. What is Randy saying? They're definitely winning. This isn't about the commanders. It's about Kaido and Big Mom. Kaido's coming to the live floor after washing Yamato. No, we'll see. End of Act 3. I don't want to discuss this. There's literally nothing to discuss at this. We all know what the things are. We're all reading the same series. We all see, yeah, it looks like the Toby Rope are defeated. Shockingly, easily, and somewhat disappointingly. Fine. We all know that it seems like, this is usually how Oda sets up the finales of acts. But there's still so many plot threads that exist and character threads that exist that would suggest that there is more to this, as well as just what this entire arc is built upon, which is actually overcoming struggle and the strength of your spirit, which would make no sense for the Straw Hats to have both the biggest challenge and the easiest challenge for them in the course of the same arc, as well as just other simple stuff like Act 3 hasn't ended. So I don't want to get into back and forths about the raid failing because it's just much easier for me to put it all in one video, and I end up repeating myself over and over. But I would wait till the end of Act 3 before walking back that theory. All right. Johnny Man Yeet says, who will lead as captain? All right, we covered that. All right, and as for the lighting, Behenort. All right, let's see. Let's see. For the people who don't like the lighting, how about now? How about the green? How about the green? Do we like the green better? Tell me how you feel. You guys like the green better? What do you guys prefer? Isaiah Davis says, when Zorro inevitably reaches the top by beating Mihawk, will he undergo the same problems Mihawk is currently going through being lonely at the top? How do you see Zorro handling this? I don't know if we're going to actually, if you want me to speculate, like, what would be the headcanon behind this, I don't have a good answer for you. I think that Zorro enjoys being at the top, right? I think he enjoys being, I think, he enjoys being a lone wolf, and I think that would apply to his status at the top as well. Maybe he would be interested in having a challenger, or because Zorro is always looking for a challenge. So I do think that Zorro wanting a challenge at the top would make sense after he achieves that goal. But at the same time, I just don't think that we're going to really get to delve too much into that. I don't think we're really going to delve too much into that with, the epilogue of the story or anything like that. Nanorobot says, mark my words, Kobe and Usopp will get conquerors. Yep, covered that. I'm so far behind on chat. Hold on. Let me just try and get through these. Let me try and speed through these. I'm scrolling through all of these comments of people saying the raid isn't failing. God damn it. I can't believe I have to read this in my own chat. This is my chat. You guys should be agreeing with me. That's Chi says, I hope Zorro utilizes his new flame cutting techniques against King. Yeah, I think for sure, 100%, right? Maybe Zorro learns a new move involving flame so that the trio will all have fire moves. Zorro did use that against Ryuma a while back, so they do all technically have flame cutting or flame sword, fire-based abilities. Mecha Deoxygen says, saw a comment saying Buggy found a map on Roger's ship and it looks like God Valley. Looking at it retrospectively, wouldn't that be interesting? That's something I have to look into, but that would be really, really, really interesting. Really, really interesting. Hold on. Try the blue light, please. It was blue. It was blue. I gotta get through. Let me try and get through these. Purple was way better? What do you mean purple was way better? You guys made me switch off of purple because it was bisexual lighting, apparently. The Neon Frequency says, do you think Vegapunk is an undercover revolutionary or a willing member of the world government? Do you think Sanji's power is an imperfect version of Judge's experiment, maybe the fully unlocked during this fight? I would prefer if Sanji's power is not related that... I would prefer if Sanji is literally a failed experiment by Germa and everything he's able to do is just him being an extraordinary human being. Do I think Vegapunk is undercover? I don't... Yes. I'll say yeah. I think Vegapunk has some ulterior motive and is not as bad as, as he has potentially been made out to be as, the world government's grade A scientist or whatever. JD Legend says, more just Twitch thought lighting. He's selling out. What's so Twitch thought about green? Huh? Richard Stevens says, no more, you know in your heart that Zunisha is the Pluton hidden by being fed an elephant a devil fruit. By feeding an elephant a devil fruit. That is actually hilarious. That would be pretty awesome. But I don't think that's the case. Alright. Getting through these. I think we're almost done. Almost caught up. No purple. Everyone's saying purple lighting is better. Purple is better. Pink. We'll try and change it in a second. Shafkat Ahmed says, what are some theories you have for Kaido's past? Any ideas where he might have learned about Joy Boy, etc.? What are some theories you have for Kaido's past? Any ideas where he might have learned about Joy Boy, etc.? Theories about Kaido's past. I don't have good theories about Kaido's past. If I do, then they're written down in a notes pad that I have to look at. All I know is that I believe that Kaido's past, I like to think that it is a lot of... I don't think he was a born monster like Big Mom. So I think that Kaido may not have been relatively that strong initially. And I think that it was through a lot of battles that he got all the way up there. Young Master says, why does Wano have so many disconnected pieces of land? Wano's geography is so unique, even for One Piece. Would you try doing a video about it? I don't try forcing theories, so other people have better theories on stuff like that. I don't I see what you're saying, and I do think that, there's definitely, hopefully, something really interesting behind that. But I don't have a great idea for it, so I'm not gonna push it. You know, shouldn't force a theory just for the sake of doing a theory. Am I caught up? I think I'm caught up. Edgar Lario says, what if there's an ancient weapon under Wano and the reason why Kaido wants to destroy it? It wouldn't make sense for him to get rid of his resources like that, especially since he has big plans. I don't know if there's an ancient weapon under Wano. I like the idea that, but I'm biased because I like the idea that the world government has Uranus. Captain Faces, do you think we will see Scotch again? There's two Scotches. There's Scotch the Yeti Cool Bro, and then there's Scotch the, that robot-looking dude from the, one of Kaido's favorite islands. I don't think we'll see Scotch again, but who knows. Power Ranger says, does Whitebeard need Haki to touch a Logia type? But Whitebeard has Haki, so I guess it's fine. But at the same time, I don't think he can affect Logias from a distance with just Quakes, because we saw him attempt that on Aokiji when Aokiji first attacked him, and Aokiji was fine. So I do think it would have to be up close. Although he did again attempt that when Aokiji was up close, and Aokiji was fine because I believe Aokiji has future sight. So, you know, hard to say there. All right. We're pretty much caught up. What is OnlyFans about green lighting? Green lighting is so not OnlyFans. Green lighting is calm, it's serene. Princess Taco says, weekly tribute hot tub stream where? Is this a joke? All right, what lighting is okay with you? How about blue? You guys like blue? Tab Sauce 2 says, don't you think Sanji would fare better against Kings as he can easily fight in the air compared to Zorro? Also, purple lights look sweet, don't listen to them all. There's actually no setting for purple. No, there is a setting for purple. Before, what I was doing was blue and red that just made it look purple. So it's supposed to be a blue-red mix, and it just looked purple. I don't think Sanji will be fighting King because I don't think Oda will ever give Sanji a stronger opponent than Zoro. I just don't think that's ever going to happen. There is an argument that Kurobi was stronger than Hachi, though, because according to the Vivre cards, depending on how much stake you put in them, Kurobi was actually the vice captain of the Arlong cards. Behnort says, Morge, don't be biphobic. I'm literally bisexual. It wasn't a diss. I love bi-lighting. You should return to it. It was a compliment. All right, well, now, thanks a lot, Behnort, because now you make me look, biphobic for not switching back to the, the purple lighting. Look, we're just going to try and take the attention off the lighting. The lighting is normal. Whatever normal means to you. Whether that's bisexual, whether that's straight, whether that's whatever the lights are, all right? Randy Troy says the blue just blends you into the background. Oh, wait, I should shout this out. Guys, assuming this is the real Randy Troy, go check out his new merch that he dropped. I myself am going to pick something out from there when I get the chance. Scroll through it a little bit. Some of the stuff looks pretty cool. So go check out Randy's merch. Randy, you want to plug your merch? You want to plug the name of the store that they can find you at? He's got some cool stuff. He didn't just slap together some stuff. He's got some cool stuff. Like, it's not just like a One Piece logo on a shirt or something like that. Thought he's got some cool stuff. Randy bought my plush, so I would buy the merch regardless because it looks good, but I also am obligated to buy some merch out of it's just a common courtesy. Eat D space S nuts. All right, nice try, buddy. Did Morge just casually drop that he thinks Aokiji is future sight without elaborating? I've talked about this before. I've talked about this in my hockey video, like, is hockey inconsistent? I've talked about how I believe that the Admirals, it was established that they do have future sight based on how Katakuri uses future sight, and how a big deal was made out of the Marine Ford War of, like, how are the Admirals able to dodge these hockey attacks, or how are they able to survive these hockey attacks despite being hit dead on, you know? So I do think that Oda was playing that up, that like, oh, if you have future sight, that's one of the things where even if someone hits you with hockey, if you're a Logia, you can move around it similar to how Katakuri was, even though Katakuri was a Parmesia. Aslan says, Zoro will cut Onigashima in half. Think about it. I think it sounds pretty cool, but I don't know if there's like definitive proof that that's what he's gonna do. All right. I think we're all caught up for the moment. Light is not normal. I haven't even looked. Let me take a look at what the light looks like now. Turn all the lights off? No. No. You guys don't know what you want. Let's take a look. The blue lighting looks great! What are you guys talking about? The blue lighting looks great. I just pulled it up on my stream. I actually really like it. I think the blue lighting looks good. Alright? Blue lighting looks really, really good. Let me do a poll of best lighting color. Blue. What was the other one? Purple. What was the other one? Green? I did green as well. Alright, we'll do a little poll and find out. Chua, my own mod, is trying to get me with some of this stuff. Chua Alibatya. Grant Morrow asks, how is Chua Alibatya a mod? That is a great question. Great question. ZKK is dead. I don't know if ZKK is dead. I mean, I don't think that ZKK is a good. I don't think it was ever a great theory, but you know, I get why so many people really got behind it. I won't say it's a bad theory. I mean, you can go all the way back to like. I think we can go all the way back to Punk Hazard, right? So the start of the whole Kaido storyline. We can go all the way back to Punk Hazard, and it starts with Luffy and Zoro taking on a dragon and Zoro cutting off the head of a dragon. So if you want to go into foreshadowing stuff, yeah, the Zoro dragon stuff has always been there. You could also argue that Oda just wanted to have Zoro decapitate a dragon like he had his swordsman Ryuma decapitate a dragon back in his one-shot monsters. And since Zoro would never get the opportunity against Kaido, he had him do that against the dragon back in Punk Hazard. So you know, it's tricky. I do think that Zoro is going to get to fight Kaido again. So I don't think that's the last we're seeing of Zoro versus Kaido. I just don't think that necessarily Zoro will kill Kaido. Miriam, the best subscriber, says try red/yellow. Also, the comments are delayed, so give it a good 20 seconds for the actual response. I'll give it a little bit. Okay, let me try it. The chat is awful? What do you mean? You guys are the chat. How are you guys saying the chat is awful? Robert Mills said, gave 1. Thanks a lot. All right. Let's try. What did you say, Miriam? We can try a few things. Red and yellow. Let's try that. Let's try red and yellow. So if I can do it right, it's hard to change just one. Wait, maybe if I use the other remote. What's red and yellow look like? I think blue looks good. And purple won the vote. That's hilarious. Red and yellow. So the yellow seems to overpower the red. Okay. We'll leave it at this for the moment, though. It's not too bad. Purple ain't by. Caribou kills Kaido. What's in second place? Blue is in second place, though. So nobody liked green. Alright, I'm going to switch back to blue. How about blue? Zachariah Zach Zoro says, would you rather brush your teeth with toilet water for the rest of your life, no mouthwash, or fight a gorilla once a year for the rest of your life? Thank you, Zachariah, for asking the good questions. I was tired of these One Piece questions. Would I rather brush my teeth or fight a gorilla once a year? Do I get tools against the gorilla? If I get a gun, I will fight the gorilla. But if I don't, if it has to be hand-to-hand combat, I would have to do the toilet water thing because otherwise it's just death. It's like, would you rather do this or die? You know? Would you rather brush your teeth with toilet water or die? Because gorillas are really strong. The gorillas are freakishly strong. I mean, I guess that's an obvious statement, but they're really, really strong. Randy says this is good. Randy, I don't know if you saw, but I did urge you to promote your merch if you feel like it into the chat, because Randy did drop his new merch. So yeah, drop the name of the store that people can find you so that they can go pick up some, you know, some hoodies, some shirts. Six Payne says, sorry if this has been talked about. What do you make of the idea that this concept of ghosts is a recurring theme in Wano? Think it plays a factor? I mean, I've seen other theorists like Randy, like Joy Boy talk about that to a degree. I have not looked into enough to really to really have an idea of like whether or not the ghost thing will be literal or not. I would prefer that ghosts do not play a part in One Piece. That is my preference. I've always felt that that does take a little bit away from the concept of actual death in stories. Once afterlife and such is established, I personally feel that for me it takes something away. But you know, let's see. Anuja Agrawal says, pretty sure this Randy is fake. You know, you're probably right, because the real Randy was already modded before this. The real Randy was already modded before this. So I think I want to unmod this Randy. I think the real Randy was already modded, so I don't feel like this is the real Randy. Orange Juice says, is it possible that Frankie put the Pluton into the Sunny? I think that the Sunny will eventually be upgraded into Pluton, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? I think that the Sunny, it's not Pluton yet, but it will eventually become, it is essentially prototype Pluton at the moment, and it will be remanufactured towards the end of the story to become a weapon of mass destruction. I think the Gaon Cannon is an early instant, like, just the fact that it has the Gaon Cannon is like an early idea of what the full-fledged Sunny will look like, having a giant destructive destructive cannon as its primary weapon. You look ill, change the lights. God damn it. Alright. Let's go back to blue. So both of them blue. Double blue. We like blue. We're back to blue. We're just gonna deal with blue. Alright? Volume low, says basic Basser Ahmed. You're the first person to say the volume's low. Red Excess Spirits already did exist with Mary, not to mention Brooke's existence. That's true, but the Mary, it's a little different, right? Because spirits in that sense, it's not like Mary was the ghost of someone that died. That was a ship that came to life, right? A spirit that was born. So when the Mary dies, that is what death is, right? So that's the type of thing that I'm talking about. With Brooke, yeah, I guess going off to the afterlife and stuff, like just because there's the existence of a soul doesn't mean that that's necessarily the same thing establishing that, there's an afterlife that the soul still exist in. That's the thing, because the idea of death is that the soul no longer exists. So, I don't know. I think we'll have to wait and see. For example, like, I would never want to see a scene where blue is best. All right, we're sticking with blue. I would never want to see a scene where, Luffy gets to talk to Ace again. I just feel like that takes Sabo existing already, which I've come around to. I think it's a good idea that Sabo exists, obviously. But Sabo existing already really threw me for a loop, because it was like, I felt like some of the power of Luffy losing his only brother in the world was neutered by Luffy getting a replacement brother. So there was just a replacement. He had a spare lying around that he forgot about. So that's not how I view the whole Sabo. That was how I viewed the Sabo stuff initially. Now I think that Sabo has a very different role to play in the story, but I didn't always love how Sabo was introduced. Aslan, thanks a lot. Do a Luffy analysis, please. That's down the road. That would be like a really, really, really thick analysis to do. Dom says, not a One Piece question, but if you could use any of the Black Bull's magic, a Black Clover question, whose would you use? That is a great question. So I'm a little rusty on Black Clover because I've been saving up the chapters. So let me run through the Black Clover. Finral. I like the idea of being able to travel, transport, and stuff. A replacement brother, OMG. Biden Gibbs says, where would you rank an adult Momonosuke power-wise? So people think that adult Momonosuke will be like Odin. No. Because Odin, even as a small, like, it's not, he's not portrayed, like, I think Momonosuke will be strong, because we are going to get to see him use that sword, Ami no Habakiri. So I think he'll definitely be strong. But I do think that Odin was just portrayed as I think from the start, it was, I think from the start, one of the key differences between Momo and Odin is not just that Momo's a lot younger. Momo's not built like Odin. Like, Odin is a once-in-a-generation, like a sort of freak of nature, larger-than-life character. Momo is not that. So keep in mind, Odin at Momo's age was like, at the age of 8 or whatever, he was taking on the village's strongest warriors and defeating them or something like that, right? Like, he took over the town's brothels and stuff like that. He killed a bear or something when he was like 3 years old. I don't know if these are exact. I don't remember exactly Odin's little backstory history, but Odin was a freak of nature from birth all the way to adulthood. I don't think like Momo, just because he'll be aged up to Odin's age, is going to be as strong as Odin. And I think one of the key differences is that Momo is going to surpass Odin by simply being a better leader than him. And that was the area where Odin was not that strong. I think that is where Odin, like, I don't think Momonosuke is going to have to be Odin to essentially like fill the shoes of Odin. I think the idea is that Momonosuke is not going to be filling the shoes of Odin. He's going to be someone else. He's going to be his own person, and that doesn't require being as strong as Odin because, you know, no, you know, like that's not the way in which Momonosuke is set to grow in this arc. I don't think it's about becoming as strong, as physically powerful as Odin. There was the missed chat. Can someone inform me what the missed super chat was? Blue looks better, to be honest. Yeah, that's why we're at blue. You know, we settled on blue. I think blue looks good. You guys think blue looks good? Well, we can play around with it a little bit. All right, so it's hard for me to make the colors different. So one color this, one color that, but I can definitely, it's not that hard to make them both one color, so let me try. Well, change. Lighter blue, that, yellow. We don't like yellow too much. Dark green, no. I guess this is teal. How about this? You guys like this? I like this. I like this. I think this is good. It's a softer blue. It's not like I'm underwater or something like that. Being underwater was not, maybe not the best look. Ayad922 says, who do you got winning the championship this upcoming NBA season? Why do you think it's going to be the Orlando Magic? It's not going to be the Orlando Magic, dude. It's not. They're not even in the. Oh, that's funny. That's not going to be the Orlando Magic. I know that for fucking sure. But who do I think is going to win? If I had to really hazard a guess, I think this is the hardest NBA season to predict in a long, long while. You've got a lot of good options. If I gun to my head, if I had to pick, I would say I think the Nets are probably the best team talent-wise in the NBA, but they're also fragile, as we saw, because you take out one, because so much comes down to their three main stars. So, you know, if one of them goes down, then suddenly it's anyone's, suddenly they're still a very, very good team, but a very fallible team. And if two of their stars are injured, then it's all over. I guess you could say that for anyone, but like, you know, I think the Nets in particular, just because we saw it this season, we already understand that it could happen, right? So they're very susceptible to injury. I think Kyrie is. KD, it's hard to say if he's susceptible to injury commonly, but like, you know, we've already seen what KD go out for a year, so it's hard to say. I like to think that the Lakers will win, but it's still very, very likely. I think if you look at it honestly on paper, I suppose I kind of got to bet on the Nets or something like that. Now I look orange. What do you guys want? All right, let's try actually purple. How about actually purple? This isn't a blue-red mix. This is just actually purple. We're back to purple. Purple did win the poll. We'll just switch it around, all right? That's the new plan. We'll just switch it around as we go. As we feel like it, you know. Doesn't have to be one single color. Morge found the all blue before Sanji. Behanort says, please come back to your Discord. I want to have a passionate debate with you on communism, #politics. Petra could introduce you to all of us. Oh, no. Okay, so I've gone through some shifts in my political views over the course of the past year. So I'm actually very, very open to having my mind changed. And I don't want to go too much into what my political... It's nothing like crazy, right? Nothing crazy. But let's say I was more pro-capitalism for a long while, and now I'm more pro... Maybe not that, because of the way that things are in the world. But, you know, there's a lot that I have been educated on over the course of the past year, I'll say. But I don't want to have a debate on politics. I will come back to the Discord at some point. Oh, there's one other thing I promised, which is the movie. Twitch movie. I have to stream a movie on Twitch. I have to stream, I believe it was Film Z, right? So I have to stream Film Z on Twitch. Condoriano says, Morge, please comment on SCK. Does Sanji cook Kaido for the post-war banquet? I don't think Sanji's cooking Kaido. That, thank you. Separately, who wins? Down D stairs or Ray D fail? Ray D fail always wins. Jordan Taylor, thanks a lot. I know he was just a movie character, but what are your thoughts on ha ha ha? You're very funny, Jordan Taylor. It's very funny. I'm too smart for this now. You know how long I've been streaming? Young Master says my super chat was skipped. There's been a lot. Can you inform me? Guys, what was Young Master super chat? The pirate here, someone help me out? Waifu list. No, the waifu list was never promised. I moved the mic closer. Hopefully that helps. What are your thoughts on Luffy as a shonen as a protagonist in a shonen setting? I think Luffy is Luffy to me is the perfect shonen protagonist. I think in the genre he is in, shonen, I think Luffy is the best. Yeah, I just think that he's the perfect protagonist for the shonen genre. And if I do a full Luffy analysis, I will expand on that. Logi Dogi says he likes putting these nuts in his mouth. Guys, keep that in mind. Dragon soup. Hey, you missed Captain Face's super chat, says Pirate Hero. If the raid fails, where would the Alliance recover? I think they may be slightly split off around Wano for a little bit. That's my idea of it. So I think we would revisit some areas. So I'd like to think that the Straws would be a little separated and we get a little bit of individual focus on each of them. And then I do think that the battle would happen again, but this time in the Flower Capital, and we would see Onigashima destroyed. Young Master super chat. Where can I buy the plush? I'm sorry, the plush is sold out. I wish you had been asking that question 2 weeks ago. Yeah, Logi Dogi, you thought you were slick shit, huh? Yeah, I do have a Twitch. I didn't, yeah, Captain Face, I got you. You don't have to type in full caps anymore. You have a Twitch? Yeah, I do have a Twitch. It's just not used as much. As in, I used it like twice. But I will use it for streaming the Film Z. I could use it for, I don't know what YouTube would do to me if I used it to stream Film Z on stream. I think YouTube would shut down my entire channel. Because that's just the way YouTube is. So, I don't know. I think I got it. How about Saturday night? Guys, you got fine with Saturday night? Miriam, the best subscriber, says, I saw someone suggest using the background color for segments. Example, intro, chapter discussion, etc. Miriam, great idea. Time to switch the background. Actually, now that I think about that seriously, that is an interesting idea. Using the background color for segments, example. So I could, yeah, that's an interesting idea. I'd have to think about that. For the moment, I kind of want to change it. What color do you guys want? Guys, type what color you guys want. Bingle D Oops says my. What kind of name is that? His name is Bingle D Oop. So take that as you will. Guys, what color do you want? What color do you want? What color do you want? Yeah, I'm not gonna stream a movie here. If I stream a movie here, my whole channel just gets shut down, and I don't think we want that. Yeah, I'm gonna stream it. I will try and stream it I'll stream it Saturday night. I'll tweet out a time. Yeah, I just moved to a new location, so I've been here 2 weeks. I have no friends. My Saturday night is free. I'm down to stream a One Piece movie. I can do that. So, yeah. I think I'll pick a time. Probably might do 6 or 7 Central Time, and then we'll go from there. Red, I'm seeing purple, I'm seeing orange. Yeah, what if we did just red? Seeing red, blue. We did blue. We haven't done just red. Let's do just red. Blue, change. Black. Oh, that'd be kind of cool. I don't think I have a black. Wait, strobe? What did strobe do? What? Alright, we found the solution. Alright, we found the solution. Alright. I'm so happy. I did not know it could do that. What? I'm waiting for chat to catch up. Are you seeing this? What does it look like on stream? Let me see what it looks like on stream. It's just changing. This is amazing. Oh my god. This is the best stream setup of all time. Someone tell me otherwise. Oh, I didn't end this poll. Did I end this poll? No, I ended the poll. No, I didn't end the poll. Oh, man. Imagine me watching the Film Z movie and you guys just having to deal with this in the background the entire time. It'll be great. Virgo's here. Here. Virgo, do you see my lights? Do you see what's going on with them? Yeah, that's right. Name another One Piece YouTuber that has a light setup like this. Guys, I can't physically end the poll. It's not letting me do it. Oh no, there we go. This is stressful. This is the worst. What are you guys talking about? No, you guys love it. You guys love it. Groovy Zeno says, have you seen what? Oh, this. I've seen this name thrown around on Twitter. 333vil, evil vid on BB having a mythical octopus devil fruit. He made good points regarding Blackbeard's personality, having 3 hearts, and other convincing points. Guys, there's nothing I hate more than people telling me about good One Piece theories or good One Piece YouTubers to check out, because for me that becomes work. So it makes the stream lag, says Jake Stiebert. How could the lights in the background make the stream lag? That makes no sense. It's not connected to my setup. You don't know what I'm... This will cause seizures, says Mr. Nimbus. Great name. But on 333vil, I don't want to learn... I could check it out. I don't want to learn more, though. I prefer being in my own space in terms of ideas. I didn't even see O'Hara's video, for example. You know, the big video? Virgo says my lights are very extravagant. I'll take that as a compliment. Bro, the strobe is too much, lol. If you don't like the strobe, then I was going to say leave, but I really don't want you guys to leave. Do I have to turn off the strobe light? I know what'll fix this. A quick poll. Do you like the strobe light? Love it. All right, let's see how you guys all actually feel. It's all on the refresh rate. No, my stream is actually lagging. Come on, guys. There's no way. No. The strobe light cannot be How could it possibly be making me this happy and you guys this unhappy, huh? Do you guys want to see me happy, or do you guys want to be happy? Think about that. What do you actually want? Good idea, but maybe turn it off now. I see how it is. All right. Let's see. I don't know if I can turn it off. I don't know if I can figure it out. What's fade? Fade? Isn't that the same as strobe? It's just the same as strobe. Flash? You guys probably hate that. Hold on, let me just see what it looks like on stream. You guys make me so mad. How can you not? All right, let's just make it green. Let's make it just blue. Let's make it just light blue. All right, back to the boring version of the stream. Let me turn off this poll. Ben says, do you have any devil fruits you want to see in the series? I always want to see a monkey or reindeer fruit and see them interact with Luffy. There's some mythical zones. So some mythical zones that I wanted to see, but it just depends if Oda would ever go this direction. I don't think Oda will have a zone that tops the Dragon Devil Fruit in terms of power, just because it feels like that's what the Dragon Devil Fruit is supposed to represent. So with that in mind, I wonder if Oda would ever do something like, you know, a Vampire Devil Fruit or something like that. But if we're saying that stuff is a no, I want to see Logia-wise a wood or plant-based Devil Fruit, just because I'm interested to see how Oda does it. I think Ryukogyu, obviously a good possibility for that. But yeah, I think that those are the two kind of big types. Caramel Dancing Mord, says Ian Salgado. I don't know what that means. Guys, I'm not hip to the lingo. I have no idea what that means. Young Master says $10 to turn the lights and change the color to purple. You heard it here first, everyone. We're back to purple. All right. No, come on, change. Come on. No, come on. No, come on. Just one. Just this one. All right, we got it. Back to purple. Well, actually, it doesn't look purple anymore. Why is that? Maybe because the other one was red and this one was blue. So let's try that and let's try that. Hello? How about now? Does it look purple now? I guess I can just set it to purple itself. Purple. Come on. Purple? Why does it not look purple to you guys? It looks purple to me. Guys, I swear I'm trying to change it. This is what I've got. I don't know why it's not switching back to purple. Like, it looks purple for me, but I guess the stream camera isn't adjusting to purple. Let me give it one more try. Kizaru hates Morge. Esther Sparks says Morge's head looks like a Mikan / tangerine. What? Thanks. One-Minded says, could Usopp beat Dory and Broggy? I think Dory and Broggy are very difficult to scale. Very, very difficult to scale. They've, obviously used an extremely powerful attack in the past, but I don't know if we can actually scale them. You finesse the guy 10 to... Alright, let me try again. Does it not look purple to you guys? Hold on. Because it is literally actually on... It is on purple. I've selected the purple one, alright? But it's not... The way it looked purple to you guys before was when one light was red on cue. The other light was blue. But I don't know why it's not showing that so much on the camera anymore. Let me try switching one more time. Blue, red. But now, no, it still doesn't look like purple. I swear, I would not lie to you guys. If I had a simple click to fix this, I would do it. It's not clicking. I mean, it's not looking like that on the camera. F in the chat for purple. I missed Bingle the Oop super chat. Oh god, Bingle the Oop. Big Mom got amnesia from the ocean because her soul is infused with the soul taken with her devil fruit. That is a cool idea. If we ever get that canonically confirmed, I would love it. But at the moment, that's just like, a different... I guess a headcanon speculation on it, which I'm not saying is right or wrong, it's just that, yeah, Pirate Hero is an S tier mod, I agree with Miriam. Morge rewards mods by hate, lol. Nah. Pirate Hero says, Chin Ho Wong, I'm just the flashy one. Strife is like the undercover chat police lol, he actually keeps the stream running. Yeah, that's true, so two sides of the same coin. Chat is kept on a tight leash thanks to Strife. So he's like, Strife is like the Dark Knight. He's the silent protector of the garbage Gotham City that is my chat. Your red was the purple. No, it wasn't. Let me try double red. Double red. Does that look purple to you guys? Let me take a look. No, it just looks red. Versus now? Now it's like purplish. So, Benny Maru says, hey, since the raid suits have attributes in Sanji's fire, you think Sanji's suit will absorb his fire and use it for his attacks? I don't think it's going to absorb his fire and use it for his attacks. I think, so Sanji's suit, as we understand it, it's the invisibility plus the mobility plus the durability, right? So defense, speed, and stealth. I would prefer if Sanji's fruit doesn't enhance his offensive abilities too much, because I still really like the idea that Sanji is a failed experiment by Germa, and everything that he's able to do combat-wise that's really special is his own abilities. The raid suit is a nice buff and lets him do stealth-wise certain things that he couldn't do before, but it doesn't... I don't like the idea that, Sanji was always born to have these fire abilities that would be amplified by the raid suit. So it's not so much what I think, but I wouldn't prefer if it's that way. Eyelash of Arabasta says, your lights remind me of the Porygon episode of Pokemon that was banned. What? Why was it banned? Bahanort says, no, it's not purple. It's close enough. It's fucking close enough. It's basically purple. Ain't a Morge stream without the slideshow. This color's okay. Purple Dark Knight Law. Yannick Amaros Meza says, do you think someone... I don't know why this comment's so funny to me, but Yannick says, do you think someone will receive head in Wano? Question mark. If yes, who? I don't know why I find that so funny. Maybe because it's just phrased in such a like a straightforward manner. Do you think this person will receive head in Wano? Question mark. If yes, who? Like it's a normal One Piece question to ask. The answer is yes. I think Zorro by Hiyori, if it has not already happened. The Pirate Hero, thank you very much for the rare donation. I'm looking forward to your original trio video. It's coming out tomorrow. Oh, original trio video. Never mind. That's coming out probably 2 weeks from now. I personally think the Nami-Zoro dynamic isn't touched on or unique enough to the Nami-Luffy dynamic, which is why I prefer the OG5 to the OG trio. Yeah, you're right, and I could do just a video on Nami and Luffy, but there is something to be said for the Nami-Luffy-Zoro dynamic, and one of the reasons you're talking about Nami and Luffy being more important than Luffy and Zoro is partly because Nami and Zoro represent two different sides of, I won't say it's like the angel and demon sort of situation, but they definitely both do offer a very differing. So, okay, how do I put this? I'd say the two sources of advice or guidance that Luffy gets the most from out of his crew are from Nami and Zoro. Okay, Robin will give him explanatory, like factual stuff to go off of, but in terms of guidance, Nami and Zoro are the two that are kind of the voices in his ear most frequently throughout the story. And when they are the voices in his ear is at very different times. So Nami is very often the one, in terms of a more rational, grounded sense, pointing Luffy to what logically they should be doing next or what they need to be doing next. Zoro is kind of the voice in Luffy's ear when it comes down to these sort of, I mean, you could say like these sort of, I don't want to say the reality is that the way it's written in One Piece is more like, and you can get into the stereotypes or whatever, but like the manly aspects of life, right? That's when Luffy's relying on Zoro, like how to stay resolute, how to stay resolute, how to stay strong. What is the burden that Luffy has as their captain, as their leader, right? That is when Luffy's getting his quote unquote advice from Zoro. Whereas with Nami, it's a lot more practical, logical, rational guidance. Like, she's literally the navigator for Luffy, right? But then Zoro is also Luffy's right-hand man. So it's two different sides. Like, that is why you might say that the Luffy-Nami duo is much bigger thing than, like, the Luffy-Nami-Zoro dynamic overall. But that's also just part of it in terms of what both Luffy and Nami, what Nami and Zoro represent to Luffy in the grand scheme of the story. Doesn't it look more purple to you guys now? I think it's gotten more purple, if that makes any sense. I don't know if that's possible, but I think it's gotten more purple. I guess it's probably not a thing, but definitely feels like it's gotten more purple. Zoro's the honorable voice versus Nami being the rational voice. Yeah, Zoro is often, I guess, the irrational, like, the way Zoro and Luffy live isn't rational, right? It's especially Zoro. Both of them, obviously. I'd say especially Luffy. Luffy's less rational than Zoro in many ways. But in terms of, like, upholding these ideas of, like, never backing down, always pursuing kind of that greater challenge. Like, you can even go back to something simple like the Davy backfight and Nami's approach to it versus Zoro's approach to it, right? Nami obviously pointing out why they shouldn't be doing this makes no sense. Zoro pointing out that no, this is just something you have to do. Plays right into the very next arc, Water 7. Nami being the one, why do we need to fight? Why can't you settle this? Zoro being like, no, you need to settle like men. This is the way you retain respect as a captain. This is what you have to do. Same thing at the end of the arc. It just goes like that over and over. Same thing at Zou, right? The discussion surrounding Sanji. Nami being the one of being like, well, shouldn't we be treating it like this? Zoro being like, no, look at the facts. We're up against Kaido very soon. We don't need to be up against Big Mom again soon. Like, this is war. This is serious. We can't be taking time out to go get Sanji, stuff like that. And, sometimes Nami's in the right, sometimes Zoro is in the right. I'd say with the Usopp situation, Zoro was in the right. With the Sanji situation, Nami was in the right. So it's very much an important dynamic, an important trio in the story, probably the most important trio in the story. Phantom SSJ says, Porygon episode had color flashes that caused epileptic seizures. Pikachu caused them, but instead Porygon has been banned for 20 years. I'm glad I reminded you of such a classic episode. I'm glad that I could take you back to simpler times. What did he use for a computer? Oh my god, wait, yeah, why is my stream lagging so much? Hello? Was this that stream latency that I was being told about? Oh no. Hold on, let me try closing some stuff. Maybe that'll help. Guys, is it lagging? Is it showing up laggy for you? How laggy is this? I don't think it's that laggy. But then again, I'm not watching the stream. Is there something I could... Where's Sean Easton? Sean always runs away when it's time for him to do his job. What if Thriller Bark was originally the Ancient Kingdom? I don't know about that. Trying to find a question from someone who I haven't responded to before. NM says, do you think the rest of Big Mom's crew will join the raid because the Flying Six are down? I mean, Big Mom's crew, again, is one of the many reasons why I believe that there's a lot of hanging threads as to why the Strats are not going to win right here. So we're going to stick with it and see what happens. Do you need more RAM? Probably. I don't really know what RAM does. Is RAM memory? Do I need more memory? Guys, what's RAM? Lord, call your editor. No, I'm not calling I'm a big boy. I'm not going to call my editor every time that there's a small little issue with the stream. This is not such a big issue that I need to call in my editor. I can handle this. Yeah, now it's lagging. It's perfectly... All right. Just refresh your computers because I have a feeling that you guys might be the ones who are lagging. That's all I'll say. Anuj Agrawal says, Morge a YouTuber that doesn't. Anuj Agrawal is lagging so much that he can't even finish his sentences. And you want to come back and tell me that I'm the one who's lagging. I don't know about that. I don't know if that makes sense. Morge, Blackbeard has 30 devil fruits, says John Ross. I don't know about that. X-Drake says random access memory. Ah, come on, X-Drake. We know you just made that up. All I know is that memory is the part that makes sense to me. So, RAM... Actually, let's find out. Let's Google it right now. What is RAM? Oh. Alright, guys. RAM might actually be... might be random access memory. I've just been informed by Google. Unless Google's lying to me as well. I'm not lagging. All 800 of us, says Declan Ved Heel. No, just a vocal minority of you are probably the ones who are lagging. I have a feeling that my stream is perfectly fine. John Ross says, my bad, I meant 300 upfruits. Mr. Nimitz says, to help towards the new RAM card, it's temporary memory. All right, here's the thing. So, thanks, Mr. Nimitz, I appreciate it. So, I am planning on getting a new laptop. Okay, let me break it down for you guys. So, you guys get a little bit of insight. So, just recently moved, had to spend a lot on, a million things, furniture, etc., rent, utilities, all sorts of new moving stuff, right? Deposits, whatever. Renter's insurance. God, I hate renter's insurance, but you gotta have it. All right? And this setup, which none of you guys like. These lights, the lights on the sides that you can't see but that are keeping the room bright, the colorful lights that nobody likes and complains about Porygon and Pokemon episodes and epilepsy, the nice Christmas light that nobody appreciates, all of this stuff costs money, okay? So, and it's going to cost money for me to get the new setup, which is replacing this, but that setup is coming soon. So, I get to pick, I'm like a kid at Christmas where I have enough money left that I get to pick between a new camera to replace this camera, right? Because right now I'm using a nice camera. It is not nearly half as good as the camera that I was using before because that was my editor's camera. Or a new laptop, right? So one of these two is getting upgraded in the next month, and then the month after that, I'm going to upgrade the next one. So it's either camera first, then computer, or computer first, then camera. I think the thing that I might be upgrading based on your guys' complaints, it looks like it might be the laptop first, because I guess I think the camera for the most part does its job. Right, what do you guys, okay, let's do a quick poll. What do you think I should upgrade first? Quick poll. The Pirateer says Celestial Morge low on funds. No, I'm not trying to say that to be like, oh, I'm like broke and I need to like scrape together some cash. No, it's just like in terms of like reasonable budgetary saving, spending, etc. Like, what's the smarter thing that I should spend on at the moment? That's literally all I'm saying. I'm saying next I can get a laptop, or next I'm gonna get a camera. I'm gonna get both in the long term over the next 2 months. But this next month, what's my next purchase basically? You know, Marmar says you should have taken your editor's camera. Marmar is a thief. Is that your approach to everything in life? Why not simply take that? Why not simply take the possession of someone else? Why not simply take something without paying? Nintendo Power says Spider-Man trailer drops in a few minutes apparently. Oh, guys, listen, you don't want to... God damn it, Nintendo Power. Who comes in, donates to let everyone know that they should leave the stream and go watch something else? What the fuck? Unless you want me to like react to the trailer. By the way, this is one of the first Marvel movies in a long time that I actually am excited for. Look at myself, I can barely stop myself from saying it against my own better judgment, but I am actually looking forward to this Spider-Man thing. Even though the stream will take away from my stream, the trailer will take away from my stream, just because, yeah, it's a clash of cinematic universes. We're gonna get Tobey Maguire back, Andrew Garfield back. I don't care for Andrew Garfield Spider-Man as much, but you know, yeah, normally I've stopped caring too much about Marvel movies. They stopped holding my interest, I think, after... I liked Infinity War a lot, but I think after that whole big phase of Marvel, whatever, phase 1 or whatever you want to call it, after that phase ended, I don't know what phase it was, phase 4, phase 3, whatever that was the Marvel as I knew it, the Iron Man through that storyline. Once that ended, it's not... it's going to take me a while to feel like watching those again. I think I'm also just past watching those type of movies as much. You know, like I'll have fun watching them in theaters if I'm going in a social setting or something like that, but I don't feel like ever just choosing to go watch that myself. That's just me where I'm at right now, basically. I think my attachment to certain characters or like certain storylines has kind of played its course. Yeah. I'm actually going to purchase a better mic tomorrow, literally tomorrow. Oh, guys, like the stream. Like the stream. Before I forget, make sure to like the stream. The pirate here says more spitting facts about Garfield's new laptop won overwhelmingly fast. All right, that's good to know. New laptop won right away. That's cool because I would prefer to get a new laptop as well, because a new camera is really, it's just for shooting video and stuff like that, versus new laptop, which is something that is just good for me in general, right? Like I would like to have a new laptop in general. So even outside of YouTube sphere. Dave Jones says, Morge, top 5 favorite movies. I'm interested in seeing how you guys feel about something that's coming this next Tuesday. Some stuff is coming this next Tuesday. Some stuff that you guys might be interested in. Some of you may be interested in, some of you less interested in. But let's wait and see how people react. I'm very interested. And if you're... I think I already hinted it too much based on what we were just talking about, but... Shonen Academia says, hey Morge, hello Morge, can you read books? I can in fact read books. I was taught, I learned how at a young age. I've been able to read books for a while now. I recommend Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight Archives. You would love the themes, characters, and extensive plot. Yeah, I've got so many recommendations of Brandon Sanderson books. I understand that he's sort of, at least from what I understand, everybody that I've talked to in the One Piece community that is also interested in fantasy promotes him first and foremost as the must-read fantasy author. I think I will try to get back into reading. His books are very long, though, and he writes very long series, like 1,000-page books, as far as I understand, right? So it will take a very big commitment for me to get back into reading. But I would be very interested in, getting, because I used to be a very, very big reader. It's funny, I used to be a very, very big reader, and then I started watching anime and reading manga, and immediately, like that same kick that I would get out of reading books and fantasy, it was sort of replaced by anime and manga because I was getting that same source of enjoyment, but like quicker, just it's the faster version of it, right? You breeze through anime episodes, you get to read manga with pictures and stuff, and so I still love reading, and I have picked up books, since then, and I've really, really enjoyed reading, but you kind of have to get back into the flow of it to be a regular reader again. So it is something I do want to do soon, but maybe not immediately. Stephen Green says, I saw that you didn't care about Zoro using Conqueror's Haki in the anime, lol. You basically ignored it, lol. Do you not consider the anime canon? No. Also, do you think Zoro and Sanji will tag team All-Stars? I think that's... Okay, so to your first question, no, I don't consider the anime canon just because aren't there certain things that, like, literally just recent... I have to look back at the recent episodes, but there have been certain things that the anime has done that's, like, very... Especially... Okay, so let's see how Oda plays it in the near future. If he plays it like Zoro does not know that he has Conqueror's Haki, then doesn't that mean that the anime is factually not canon right then? Because, I mean, like, the anime just... It's not like... The anime has done things in the past that aren't canon. Like, it's shown Zoro cut steel in filler arcs, which isn't canon, right? He didn't have that ability till Mr. One fight. There's things that the anime does that are just strictly not canon. Characters that it makes up, things that it adds to scenes that are not canon because they don't happen. So, yeah, that's all I have to say on the subject. I do believe, though, that Oda might be giving the anime hints on certain things that happen in the future, so the anime knows to do certain things in advance, but that's not the same as saying that Oda is telling the anime, oh, include this, include that, etc. So that doesn't mean that Oda's telling the anime, hey, write a scene where Zoro uses Conqueror's Haki before this Kaido scene. That's all I'm saying. Do I think Zoro and Sanji will tag team the All-Stars? I mean, okay, for the record, by the way, I think the aspects of the anime that are canon are the aspects that are basically coming from the manga and being adapted. That's basically it. And then things outside of that are things that the animation team is adding to the story. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be a tag team fight necessarily. Even if it is, I believe Oda would err more towards Zoro fighting King and Sanji fighting Queen, and that being the main matchup of it. But we have seen a bit of Sanji versus King early on when Momonosuke was on the cross. A small interaction, but an interaction nonetheless, like a little scuffle. Benny Mara says, have you read The Alchemist? No, I have not. I imagine it's a good book. Is it a fantasy book? Miriam, the best subscriber, says, why not a PC instead? Even budget-friendly ones aren't too behind in technology. A laptop doesn't make much sense. Maybe look at YouTube reviews and see what benefits you more for what you need / use it for. Yeah, so I'm not super tech savvy. My editor has a very, very nice PC. I wanted to get that as well. He suggested a laptop simply because it's mobile. So that way, I can have something fairly advanced. Not quite as powerful as a PC, I suppose, but I can take it abroad if I need to work abroad. When I say abroad, I mean like if I'm traveling somewhere, right? Not like, oh, I have to jet off to Japan to work or something. But like, if I'm not in my space and I need to stream or do anything like that, it's more flexible to have a laptop than a PC, And on top of that, just something small, like if I want to go work at a cafe or something. So there's reasons for laptop over PC for someone like me. Someone like, yeah, I think it makes sense because you can get a very powerful laptop that's close to a PC. Jordan Taylor says, hey Morge, sorry for the haha epic funny bofa earlier. So here's the real question. Who is a better One Piece Indian? Yuruj or Jinbei? Let's say Jinbei because I joke, but I do like Jinbei a lot better now. How do I flesh out my full thoughts on Jinbei? I actually like Jinbei better as a character now. It took me a little while to warm up to him, but it's hard to explain. It's a bit of a loop where I joke about liking Jinbei when I actually dislike him, but underneath that dislike, I do actually like him as well. Does that make sense? Because at first, I disliked him. And then I started joking, well, he's Indian, so therefore, I like him, even though I actually dislike him, wink, wink. And now, though, even underneath that, I do actually like him to a degree. I think I just, for me, I never felt like he added that much to the Straw Hat Crew dynamic. Okay, I never felt like he added that much to the Straw Hat Crew dynamic, and I felt like he was a little too clean to be a Straw Hat in that he has no flaws necessarily. He's kind of the perfect, honorable, always good-hearted, like, he's just such a clean character. Like, he's not really rough around the edges in any sort of way. You know what I mean? Like, everything about Jinbei is just honorable, upright, just the good guy, you know? I don't personally enjoy that much, but I have come around to like him more, and it makes sense for the role that he sort of plays with the Straw Hats. I did not enjoy him being added to the crew because for me, it already felt like a lot of the Straw Hat moments were very tight in the New World as it was, in terms of how frequently we got moments for certain Straw Hats. So adding another Straw Hat that would crowd the group more, if we're adding another one, I wanted to be someone who really, really changed, like who really, really brought a lot that was new, like a really fresh personality to the crew, which I didn't feel Jinbei was. But I still like Jinbei as a character individually. Morning Morality, thanks again. Yamato will die, but the raid won't fail. I think it would be very abrupt if Yamato died and the raid didn't fail. Yamato's a character that we just met and has not gotten that much focus necessarily. Like, we've just starting to understand stuff about her character, so for her to die, if you think that's, like, it wouldn't mean that much. It's just a character that we just literally found out this act about. We just was invented this act out of thin air, essentially, and then they die. It would carry very little weight, in my opinion. You know, it's like, well, we need to write in a tragic death for Act 3. Well, let me just invent a character out of thin air that we've never talked about before, and then I'll kill that character, and that's the tragic death of Act 3. That doesn't follow that much to me. The pirate here says, I mean, to be fair, does Zorro have any weaknesses other than getting lost, lol? No, you're not understanding what I mean by weaknesses. Like, if I were to take Zorro, for example, Zorro's a very good-hearted character at his core, but outside into a lot of people, he comes across as rough, abrasive, you know, just a very rough around the edges, sort of mean character. A lot of people are intimidated or put off by him at first. And, like, you know, you even had Sanji having to explain to a lot of those G5 Marines that, look, he looks like a bad guy, but he's actually good underneath. Sanji, similar thing. Sanji's a very kind-hearted cook, but the first thing that we saw him doing was beating up a customer, right? So the idea is that, yeah, he's a very good character under the surface, right? A lot of the Straw Hats are very good characters once you get past a certain aspect of them, or like they can be, like, they're not just pure straight up and narrow good, just depicted as good people from the start. Whereas Jinbei is just like a pure honorable character. Like, all of his interactions, who he is at his core, like he's just written in as the good guy, the honorable guy, the always does everything right type of guy. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's no real edge to Jinbei. It's like, and that's one side of it. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's just one side of it. There's more to it, but to me, it's just like Jinbei. Like, that's one aspect of it. Like, oh, in terms of how good of a character Jinbei is, but all around, I feel all the Straw Hats have some sort of, they're not like perfect little characters, basically, whereas I feel like Jinbei is just like morally and in his actions and the way he talks, everything about him is just like, he's always wise with his words, right? Like his advice. He's always morally good with what he chooses to do, always noble, always self-sacrificial, etc. Like, none of the other Straw Hats are like checking off all of these boxes at the same time. Shonen Academia says, shoutouts from Peru. I like the lights since they are the same color scheme from your animated stream background. Someone who likes the stream. Lights. Sorry, someone who likes the lights. I appreciate it a lot. The true Morge. Michael A says, we're deciding on Morge's life choices now. Next poll, what's Morge getting for dinner? Discuss. No, I already ate dinner before the stream. I don't eat dinner on stream anymore. This is why I was late, by the way. I don't eat dinner on stream anymore because then you guys complain. Well, not complain. You guys make fun of me for like ASMR. And that makes me feel self-conscious, so I don't like doing it. Morning morality. No, we just did that. Do you guys get the Jinbei explanation? Morge fishist. No, that's not. It's not fishist. Michi Eichberg says, can Marco beat King? Yeah. I mean, it looked that way to me. KO says, More, do you enjoy edgy characters? It's not even that. It's just like, yeah, Chu Alabatia says, Jinbei's a goody two-shoes. It's both at, like, who's always gonna, like, his advice is always sound, right? Like, he's the wise guy. He's the smart guy. And then morally, he's also just in the right. He's good. He's doing the right thing. He's being honorable. He's being, you know, he's just being a goody two shoes. That's the thing. I don't know if I want edgy characters necessarily, but like I don't want a character that's just like a perfect little square being handed to me, you know? Mr. Bishop says, what about Robin and Chopper? I mean, you guys are getting too caught up in just the moral. So Robin, for example, Robin has a dark side, right? Robin, like go read that Robin versus Black Maria fight again. Robin very much has a dark, sadistic side, right? And with Chopper, yeah, Chopper is morally a very good person, but it's not like Chopper's like the voice of wisdom that is always speaking to Luffy. Like with Jinbei, it's this whole package. He's like this perfect advisor type figure that's being handed to Luffy. Again, like morally, always really, really good. And then two, wisdom-wise, like he's the voice of reason that's talking. Like go back through Whole Cake Island, who is the one who is the voice of reason guiding him throughout much of the latter half of Whole Cake Island, who has this wisdom, this experience. That's it. Like Jinbei doesn't have any, there's no drawback to a Jinbei. And he's strong. He's like the fourth strongest member of the crew at this point. He's ridiculously strong. It's just the perfect, he's just so good. He's just so good. Pirate Hero says, you missed Benny Maru's super chat. Sanji's knocking out Queen with a galaxy wink. I would love if Sanji has to use Okama Kenpo. It would be awesome. It would be great if Sanji has to use Okama Kenpo to really hit his full potential and get some big wins. Bingle D Oop says Jinbei is just further along in his character arc. Yeah, I mean I agree, and that's partly why I didn't want him. I can like him as a character and not love him as a member of the Straw Hats. You see what I'm saying? It's in the context of being a Straw Hat. Lulu Meg says, Morge, will Usopp die? Answer my question. I have a full video for you, my friend. Go look up why Usopp will die under Morge videos, and you will find what you are looking for. The answer to your question. It's T says, how strong Lucky Roo will be? I mean, I imagine roughly as strong as Queen. I think Jozu seems stronger than Queen to me, looking back at what Jozu did. Queen has not been particularly impressive so far, I guess. But, like, we understand Queen is strong based on the status of second commander. So, I mean, yeah, imagine, like, as strong as Queen, maybe Jozu, something like that. Deathwink by Sanji at the end of the series. Yeah, it would be great. I don't want to call him a Mary Sue. Like, it's not like, because Jinbei doesn't, like, excel, like, he's not, like, a monstrously strong, he's not, like, a perfect character in that sense. But just in terms of the next Straw Hat that I wanted to see added to the crew, I would have preferred not someone just that's so clean and straightforward. Princess Taco says, Jinbei cosplay when? I'm Indian, so I'm always doing Jinbei cosplay. So no need to look any further for that. Will Zorro have raid suit instead of Sanji? I don't think so. I highly, highly doubt that. I don't think that's going to be happening. Daniel 22's chat. What's Daniel 22's chat? Miss it? I never miss. What's Daniel 22's chat? Well? Hello? Can someone update me on Daniel 22's chat? Oh, I feel like I just missed it again. I see it though. I feel like Who's Who was set up to be too strong and too important information-wise to go down that easily, especially for an ancient weapon. Ancient Zone thoughts. I 100% agree, which is why I do not think that the Tobiropo are down. I don't think that they are defeated. Despite what was said last chapter, I don't think that's the case. I think that they are going to awaken before this is all said and done. I do think that it was a little too easy. Princess Taco says, at Shinho Wong, he totally evaded that. What did I evade? Morge needs an Elizabeth cosplay. Elizabeth? Randy Troy says, Usopp is not dying. He likely have a fake out. Big Mom taking his soul, but he won't die. No, I think we've even discussed this on Virgo's stream. But yeah, we just have differing views on the route that Usopp is set. Like, what will be the fulfillment of his character? Like, what would end his storyline as him essentially reaching that point of becoming a quote-unquote brave warrior of the sea? Like, what is that moment of fulfillment for his character? To me, it's something like that. Dardak says, does Sanji beat Dofi? Look, if Sanji beats Queen, then I would say that, yeah, Sanji at this point in time would beat Doflamingo. If Sanji loses to Queen here, then I'm going to say, no, we're gonna go by what we saw in Dressrosa. That Sanji, like, let's wait and see what Sanji does against Queen. If Sanji does legitimately beat Queen, then yeah, I'd say Sanji would beat Doflamingo as well. Black Goat says, is Doflamingo stronger than Jack or Cracker? So now we're getting into the power scaling stuff. I'd say Doflamingo's right around there, basically. That's all I'd say. He's right around there. That's what makes sense to me. John Rose says, Morge, how would you write Usopp beating Kaido unironically? Sniping him with Sea Stone, unless the fish fruit makes him, makes Sea Stone irrelevant to him. Shin Ho Wong says, when will Usopp get to Elbaf? I think around the time everyone else gets to Elbaf. Jelly Peanut says, Morge, have you watched If Kaido Went to Marineford? I don't know. What is that? I have no idea what that is. If Kaido Went to Marineford. What is that? CC Rapalini says, Jinbei is like the Iroh, but not as great as Iroh. Yeah, and look, Iroh was the mentor. There's a it's kind of the role that the character plays. So it's not like I'm against Rayleigh, for example. I love the role that Rayleigh plays in relation to Luffy. But you understand, I wouldn't want Rayleigh to join the Straw Hats because that doesn't fit, right? To me, that type of character doesn't fit with the Straw Hats and what that group is. Jinbei is a very complete, he's wise, he's mature, he's moral, he's seen the world, he's experienced. He's the moral and experienced foundation that's just a fundamentally complete character that's just being fit into the crew. The same reasons I wouldn't want Rayleigh joining the crew are the same reasons I wouldn't want Jinbei joining the crew. Whereas Iroh, he wasn't a member of the gang, he was Zuko's mentor, right? Obviously he fought with the gang and was by their side by the end of the story, but it's not like he was one of the gang. It would feel that it's hard to write a character like that as a member of the gang because the Avatar gang they were a bunch of young, inexperienced characters that were having to learn and have their character arcs and grow into their own, whereas Jinbei is largely past that in many ways, which again, not completely, I'm sure, and we'll get to see more of that when it comes time for the Fisherman race to come back to the surface, etc. But in many ways, he feels like too complete of a character for me, for him to feel right with the rest of the Straw Hats. The Pirate Dude says, Morge, your Thai stream inspired me to get into my first power scale debate online, so thanks, man. If anything, it should have dissuaded from anyone from ever getting back into that stuff ever again. Farsaf says, Morge, do you think NL will return before the end of the series? Yeah, I think so. I think NL would. I think, not necessarily in a major way, but I personally think NL could come back and just get, I've mentioned this before, fruit farmed. I think he could get farmed for his fruit by the by the Blackbeard Pirates. Left Jab says, Morge, why don't you upload these streams? So for those of you who don't know, I do upload the streams. I upload them on the second channel, Mr. Morge 2. So go check it out there. Jordan Taylor says, sorry, I didn't mean to turn the chat against you with that Jinbei question. You are my favorite One Piece tuber, and you got me back in with your Whole Cake Island video. It's okay. The chat is already against me. You understand? I couldn't make a simple lighting decision with them telling me I was wrong and that I had to change it 15 times just to get back to what it originally was, which was red and blue lighting. So, Jordan Taylor, you rest easy. You did not turn this chat against me. I speak only to a bunch of rebels and traitors who want to disagree with me on everything. Two channel subs and yeah, like the stream and subscribe to the second channel. If you want to see these streams uploaded, the streams are always uploaded on Mr. Morge 2 on the next day. So this stream will be uploaded tomorrow. What time? I don't know, whenever my editor gets around to it, but he usually uploads it sometime early on the day after. The term fruit farmed is actually hilarious. Yeah, that's what the Blackbeard Pirates do. That's what happened to Absalom. He got fruit farmed. The thing is, if I was Absalom, I wouldn't have been too worried about getting fruit farmed, because Absalom is fruit, assuming you can only get one devil fruit, the invisibility fruit wouldn't be the first one that I go to. That's it. 2 is better than Morge 1. Yeah, Mr. Morge 2 is a lot better than Mr. Morge 1 because that's where all these streams are at. So if you want access to the streams, definitely go there. Beans says, not including One Piece, what is your favorite manga? That's actually a really, really tricky question because for me, there's like a huge gap in terms of my favorites after One Piece. One Piece is like the only series that I would ever like obsess about and talk about to this degree, like devote an entire channel to. So the gap between One Piece and the next one is fairly big. But if I had to say it varies what my second favorite manga is, like it varies in terms of what I'm feeling at the moment. I'd say long term, Berserk was probably the manga that I enjoyed the most, like over a long period of time. In the immediate, Chainsaw Man was probably the series that most really grabbed me and like really held my interest more than One Piece for a period of time. The only manga that I've ever been at points felt like, oh, I'm enjoying this more than One Piece at the moment. The only manga are Vinland Saga, but I felt like that series went terribly, terribly downhill, in my opinion, after chapter 100. So Vinland Saga, I was really, really high on Vinland Saga for a bit. I was enjoying it more than I was enjoying One Piece for a period of time, and then after chapter 100, it fell through on a lot of points for me. I think JoJo's, particularly part 7, so not early JoJo's, but part 7 of JoJo's, there was a point where I think there was a stretch of it where I just couldn't stop reading, and it was, yeah, I think it was very much in my mind like maybe this is my new favorite series almost, which I usually never think. But it also did not deliver for me in many ways towards the end. I think it approached a lot of subjects or ideas that it didn't really address by the end of the story, and it checked off many boxes, but then it left a lot of ideas, just like it brought them up, but then didn't reach any sort of meaningful conclusion or resolution to them or have anything particular to say on them when it suggested it did towards the beginning. So part 7, it's like I have a love-hate relationship with it because I think it's amazing in many ways, and then I think that it doesn't deliver on a lot of ideas in so many ways that people really overlook. Black Clover was like my favorite guilty pleasure read. I don't even think guilty pleasure. I think it was just like a really, really enjoyable watch because I watched it with my roommate, and that was actually really, really fun. That was the most fun I've had watching an anime for a while. And I definitely enjoyed that more than One Piece for a period of time, even though it's Black Clover, as crazy as that sounds to you. I strongly recommend people trying to get into Black Clover just because if you go into it with the right mentality that it's not going to be a deep or heavy series, but it is going to nail a lot of shonen aspects really, really well, a lot of people would really, really enjoy Black Clover, and it delivers in a lot of the same ways that One Piece does. And then, yeah, Chainsaw Man was the freshest, most like captivating series for me for a long period of time, and I really, really look forward to that coming back. Maybe Chainsaw Man is my second favorite series in the moment, but long term, I think like, you know, when I'm not like caught up on like Chainsaw Man excitement, like, oh, when's the next part coming out, when's the anime coming out and stuff, I'd say Berserk is probably my second favorite series. Izaz155 says, in the first data book, both Zoro and Luffy have max strength 6 and Sanji has 5. Do you think Zoro has better armament than Luffy? I'm going to disregard the data book because I don't actually know how canon that is. Like, how much does Oda put into that? But I do think that I don't think Zoro necessarily has better armament than Luffy now. Enma might sway things, to be honest, because Luffy did train his armament a lot. But maybe Zoro had better armament than Luffy coming out of time skip. But then after, you know, Luffy did the training and Udon and everything like that, because Luffy explicitly, we know for a fact that Luffy has the... I want the Enma confusion cleared up as it pertains to armament. Because Kaido does seem to imply twice that, and Zoro himself seems to imply that it's Enma. It's tricky. I know that's a controversial subject. I just want to clarify it a little bit, how much of that armament haki stuff is coming from Enma and the remnants of Odin's haki, or that just being Kaido's misinterpretation. Marcos Vinicius says, what are some of the character arcs you want to see from the Straws before the end of the series? I actually did a series of videos on that, so the end game of each Straw Hat. So please look into that. I did that for Luffy. I did a video on Luffy, Zoro, Nami, and I did a video on Usopp, Sanji, Chopper, and then I did one on Frankie, Robin, and Brooke. I labeled I labeled two of them why Usopp dies a hero, but it covers three of the Straw Hats, and I labeled the other one why Frankie builds Pluton, but that also covers three of the Straw Hats, or four of the Straw Hats. It also covers Jinbei. So yeah, definitely check those out because I do actually go in depth into what each of those, you know, what each of those basically, um, each of those character arcs, how I project them out to be ending by the end of the story. Have I read Kingdom? I've read like the first arc of Kingdom and actually really enjoyed it. But then when I realized that the first arc seemed like kind of a prologue arc to much bigger stuff down the line, I took a step back from Kingdom and I was like, I'll get back to it. I really, really, really did like the first arc of Kingdom though. But after I took a bit of a break, I didn't feel super motivated to get back into it, so I will at some point. Stefan Green, thanks Glenn. Do you think Wano will be looked at as a character arc for Zoro? And also, do you think we will ever find out how Zoro lost his eye? I think that if things go well, then Wano will be looked at as a character arc for Zoro. At this moment in time, no, but I think the seeds have been planted for Zoro to have a lot of great character moments in Wano. I think just the reveal that Zoro is a conqueror says a lot for what his role could be over the course of this arc. But at the moment, no, there's nothing much character-wise that's big for Zoro so far in Wano. Like, even Thriller Bark is a bigger arc for his character than this one so far. It's definitely a big arc in terms of him getting highlight moments in terms of battle, but I don't think that that's what you're saying. Oh, will we ever find out how Zoro lost his eye? I like to think this is my headcanon, that the final thing Zoro did before leaving to go back to Sabaody was challenge Mihawk to a duel, and it was a serious duel, and that's when Zoro lost an eye. So from that duel, Zoro understood how far off he still had to go to defeat Mihawk, and that's kind of his benchmark that he used for the time skip for the rest of the New World going forward. So he understands that's the benchmark. The next duel, so I think Zoro's had another serious duel with Mihawk off screen. That's my headcanon. As for whether or not we'll get to see something of Zoro losing the eye, I hope so, and I hope that it's a big moment for him. But I don't think it's like necessary. I think it also just functions pretty well as like a cool speculative idea of like, oh, I wonder like what that duel was that made Zoro lose the eye to Mihawk. How did that experience affect him? Jino Wong says more drank Hunter x Hunter. I forgot. So Hunter x Hunter I actually really, really like as a series. And I almost want to revisit because I read it exclusively in the manga, but I know how good the anime is. I've seen episodes of it here and there. My roommate watched it in the... So, this is funny to say, but a bit of a sidetrack. So, back when I lived with two roommates, right? So, one of them was like best friend from college, and I kind of got him into anime manga, starting with Death Note, because that's like a very palatable series, and then I got him over to One Piece. This was like quite a shift because he was classic anime manga stuff is weird, like typical, normie American mindset, basically, right? And I had to sort of shift him into being like, well, try One Piece, and he got far enough along, he started trying other series and stuff. So it got to the point where he would watch so much anime, like he just likes binging series, so he would watch so much anime that it was cool. So he's watched way more anime than I have at this point. I've obviously read more manga, he's not much of a manga reader. But like, there was a point that I could sort of like use him as a guinea pig, and this isn't insulting if he sees this, because it's just funny, but I could use him as a guinea pig and be like, hey, so I've been hearing a lot about this series, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Could you like just try it and like find out if it's good or whatever, so that then I know if I should try it? Because I would like, so for these series, like I think JoJo's, Cowboy Bebop, there's a couple others that I don't know yet. Steins Gate, series that I would hear and see online people are saying are really good. I would pass it along to him and be like, hey, you're looking for something to watch, right? Try watching this. And so once he would binge through the entire series and be like, yeah, this is really good, or like, no, this is bad, then I'd be like, okay, cool, so then I'll try it. So he actually binged through JoJo's before I did, and was like, at some point he was like, yeah, this is really good. And then I started catching up too and got up to JoJo's. So, how do I say this? Oh yeah, Hunter x Hunter. That was the opposite. Hunter x Hunter was a series I'd read as a manga a long time back, but never seen the anime, so I asked him to try the anime for that. And he thought that was really, really, really good. And so I got to see some episodes because he had it on the TV. So the anime for Hunter x Hunter looks really good, Hunter x Hunter, I had read it far enough back that I wouldn't rank it as one of my favorite series today because it's just been years and years. But I would want to rewatch the anime because that's like a different experience of Hunter x Hunter. So I would get to re-experience the series, but also in like a new medium. So I get like probably uh like it's not like a reread, right? So it's not like a reread. It's like a fresh how do I say this? Like a fresh review of a series that you've tried before but need a refresher on, right? So you're getting it in a different medium. It's more exciting, right? So you get to see some new stuff. So I definitely like that. Hunter x Hunter, I will say that the most recent arc that they took a hiatus on was shaping up to be my favorite arc in the series. I don't think it would necessarily be better than the Chimera Ant arc because I still remember how good that arc was. But for me, the type of stuff that I really enjoy, the recent arc, because I really enjoy like horror elements and murder mystery type elements, and especially murder mysteries that take place in a claustrophobic space, so a tight setting with a tremendous amount of characters. So all of those factors combined made the recent Hunter x Hunter arc like basically my ideal setup. So I think that might have elevated Hunter x Hunter to God knows how much like where I would place that series of my favorites at the end of that if it had kept going like that. Anyway, it's on a hiatus though. Spider-Man trailer is out. Isas1155 says Hunter x Hunter is as good as One Piece but in different stuff. Yeah, and that's the thing. I think when it comes to straight shonen stuff, One Piece is the best. I think in terms of long-term storytelling and setup and planning and like the vision of a large-scale story structure, One Piece is the best I've ever seen. I think in terms of hitting me hard emotionally and really straight up like, oh, this makes me cry or this makes me like euphorically happy or like overjoyed or want to punch the air, One Piece is the best. But then in so many other ways, there's so many series that are maybe more darker, more philosophically complex, more nuanced. They bring more layered sort of intellectual storytelling into the picture. One Piece is not that type of series. So it depends on what type of storytelling you enjoy. I would never argue that One Piece is just better than everything in every aspect or whatever, but I definitely think it's the best in the aspects that I value in certain ways. But then there's other series that are definitely better in other, I would never compare One Piece to Chainsaw Man. They're just very, very different series. I would never compare One Piece to Berserk. They're good at very, very different things. So, same with Hunter x Hunter. I'd say like Hunter x Hunter is also a shonen, but the areas in which it excels at as a shonen are very different than what One Piece is. So it's apples to oranges comparisons. I would never be, if someone's like, oh, Hunter x Hunter is better than One Piece, I would never be like, oh, what are you talking about? That's crazy. But the same for if someone says One Piece is better than Hunter x Hunter. There's different things. Hanata Sancho Yahuza Giri. Joy Boy, that's quite a name. Joy Boy and Poseidon were love interests, and he used to swim to Fishman Island. The apology poneglyph was because he gifted the devil fruit tree to her. Joy Boy and Poseidon were love interests, and he used to swim to Fishman Island. The apology poneglyph was because he gifted the devil fruit tree to her, and the curse was that he couldn't swim to see her again. That's a really cool, like one of those mythic legend type things, like, when things are written in terms of like old ancient tales, like Zeus came down to earth and did this thing, but because of that, there's now this extra star in the sky or something. Like there's some sort of legendary curse or something like that comes out of these sort of mythic events from long ago. I like that idea a lot, like how the One Piece universe was sort of shaped, why the rules were set in place, why the devil fruit tree functions the way it does, why you can't swim down to sea. You can't swim into the sea if you're a devil fruit user, stuff like that. That's definitely interesting to me. You read or watch Monster? No, haven't gotten to Monster. I know Joggerwall still says still waiting for more to rank Berserk arcs and explain why Golden Age is the GOAT. I think Golden Age is unquestionably the best Berserk arc. Like, if you want to go into, like, yeah, you could be like, everything's subjective, yada, 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 but if you want to go into, like, general standards of writing, right, that most people tend to, like, if you're just breaking things down in terms of, like, how certain character arcs were constructed, how certain themes were constructed, by most standards of writing, Golden Age is actually several tiers above the rest of Berserk, but the rest of Berserk is also very, very, very good, so it's not as though that's like a slight against Berserk as a whole. It's just that if you actually look and break down what happens with each of the characters in Golden Age, and how the themes of that arc are developed in both those categories, it's like light years ahead of the rest of the story. It's clear that there was significantly more planning and thought put into Golden Age than anything else following that in the story. And even small things like the art improves significantly over the rest of the story, but smaller things in terms of how Miura directs scenes. So in terms of scene direction and the thought he puts into how he crafts the chapter, Golden Age much, much higher. So both visually and writing-wise, Golden Age was the peak, I'd say, of Berserk. Visually, again, really hard to say because the art is objectively better later on. It's just that, again, how much do you put into direction and like using imagery and visual symbolism to tell your narrative? So Golden Age was better. So Golden Age was the best. But my favorite arc in Berserk is Conviction, which again is why I'm not trying to say Golden Age is the best as a slight to the rest of Berserk. Conviction arc was my favorite Berserk arc, then Golden Age. If we're going by the major arcs, right? Then Golden Age, then Falcon of the Millennium Empire, and then whatever the hell is happening right now. I actually just forgot. I said whatever the hell is happening right now as though in my mind, like, we're gonna find out the rest of what happens, but like, that's actually, yeah, like crazy. I don't know, I hadn't thought about it in a bit. That's just, like, that's it. We're not getting the rest of this arc or another arc. Like, yeah, I hadn't thought about that in a bit. It's just very weird, like, when it's in the context of ranking arcs, and then, I don't know, it just feels so weird, because in my mind it was like, yeah, this arc, but however this arc goes, maybe I'll like it better by the end, and I just remembered, like, it's not the way that, yeah, you guys get what I'm saying, right? I mean, imagine if, like, I can't even think, like, if Oda, it would be so, it's, I can't even fathom it. It's just like, this is just it. Like, that's just where Wano ended up. That's it. We don't find out the rest of Wano. We don't find out the rest of it. I literally can't think about it. Shonen Academia says, which non-One Piece character would fit perfectly as a One Piece character? My pick is Iskander/Ryder from Fate Zero. I don't know who that is. But if you want to go like that, I think, I had to bring it up, but I think there's like literally dozens of Black Clover characters that would fit very well into One Piece. I think Black Clover does fill a certain hole that One Piece did for a long time. It's nowhere near as good in One Piece in most ways, but it does some of the basic stuff that I really enjoyed One Piece for. Especially, like, particularly pre-time skip. Young Good Noah says, More, do you buy manga physically? If not, where do you read it? I read it online like a dirty pirate. That's it. Cammy says, I think there'll be one final chapter. Yeah, I don't know if I honestly don't know, like, I'll read that final chapter, but it's really, like, it's easier for me to kind of just shut off the Berserk interest side of my brain, because it's easy, like, I've already kind of, like, until you brought up that question, I hadn't thought about that series in a while. So, like, what am I gonna do reading that final chapter, huh? Like, what will that do for me? It's easier for me to not think about it. I'll probably read it at some point, but I'm not, like, pressed. It's not like a thing I'm looking forward to. It's like essentially like I don't care about that chapter anymore, because I've already, like, managed to detach myself from my investment in that story, because it's hard to, like, retain that and then still, like, and know that it's not going to continue, because I think it's just better to start just trying to detach. That's easier for me. The way I look at it. Dom says the Black Clover cast has big Straw Hat Crew dynamic vibes. Yeah, that's one thing. It's the only group that has Straw Hat Crew dynamic vibes that I've seen in another story. And, like, it's not quite there, because the Straw Hats, obviously, like, a lot more time was put into each Straw Hat, but, like, the author really does take his time one by one, fleshing out and giving, like, little character backstories and, like, little storylines for each one of the Black Bulls members. It really does feel like the Straw Hat vibes again. Black Clover I basically look as, like, a mini One Piece, like a baby version of One Piece that I can treat as, like, my new mini version of One Piece. And it's not as good in, like, a million different ways, but the areas that it is similar to One Piece in and it is good at, it is definitely good at. So I'm actually holding off on reading the recent chapters because I'm letting them pile up. I'm not, like, super duper, like, obsessed about what's going on right now in the story, but the arc that's happening right now is probably the best arc, set up to be the best arc in the series. So we'll see. Hemant Sharma says Golden Age is the best flashback in manga history. No. If I counted it as a flashback, I would agree, but I don't think you get to do like a 80 chapter flashback and then be like, this is the best flashback. And like, that's just not, that's cheating to me. It's like, that's a full arc. That's like a full, like, that's the length of entire mangas. Many manga, their entire storylines are as long as the Golden Age. That'd be like, it just doesn't work like that. That'd be like, if you had 5 chapters of One Piece today, like imagine One Piece started in Wano, okay? One Piece started in Wano, and you get like 5 chapters of Wano. So that's chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5. This is all Wano. And like we have no context for anything. And then Luffy's like, well, how did we get here? And then he goes on a long flashback, and we get 1,000 chapters of story, and like starting from East Blue all the way through to here. And that's like, and then we get back to Wano, and it's like, well, technically that was all a flashback, but not really. I'm not going to count that as like a flashback arc. Like, obviously, Golden Age is a flashback arc, but I don't put it with like, that's just not how you rank against other backstories, in my opinion. Like for me, Robin's backstory is the best backstory I've ever read. It's the hardest hitting emotional backstory for me for anything I've ever read. But obviously, it's not fair to compare it to the Golden Age, which is an entire fantasy epic. That's a full story. That's Robin's backstory is 10 chapters. So that's just my take on it. Adnan says, "More, did you like Naruto or Bleach?" I was big on Bleach. I was a big Bleach fan. And I was a Naruto fan for the most part, kind of. I was a Naruto fan. I was a big 3 reader, but partly that's because that's all I knew. So there was a time, 3 of the 5 series I read. This is what young high school Morge used to read. One Piece, Bleach, Naruto, Fairy Tail, and History's Strongest Disciple, Kenichi. And I didn't really go outside of that realm. Those 5 manga were the manga that I read. Then eventually I started branching off, as certain series ended and stuff, I started branching off, reading other things. But that was the main thing. And for me, so people talk about the big 3, because I was in my own world and I didn't like communicate too much with other like manga readers and stuff. For me, it was like a big 5. So in my mind, I was so convinced that like I kind of knew it wasn't true, but in my mind I was like, okay, so Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, and Fairy Tail, those are all obviously big, and then I think Kenichi's probably like the 5th biggest manga, because those were the 5 that I read. And in my mind, those were just like probably the big 5 manga. So I don't really know. I kind of found out slowly over time, okay, like Kenichi doesn't really belong with these others. And Fairy Tail was like obviously bad after a period of time, so like I understood Fairy Tail's not as popular as the others because like, it's just the way it is. But like, Bleach, there was a brief period of time probably where I wasn't sure if I liked Bleach better or One Piece better. Again, I was young. By the time the end of the Spada arc and like the eyes and stuff, I had a very clear image of like One Piece was like God to me at that point, and like Bleach was essentially somewhat of a disappointment for me at that point. May says, "Do you watch the Black Clover anime?" Yeah, I caught up on most of Black Clover through the anime because again, like that was something that my roommate was watching. So at first I was kind of just tuning in and seeing what he's watching, and then it's on the TV, and then I'm just watching the rest of it basically. So that got me into it because normally I would never have picked up Black Clover. I don't watch anime anymore really, unless it's been hard recommended to me. And I don't really pick up new manga unless like people are really hyping it up. So Black Clover I literally only got into because my roommate was getting into it. And I was very pleasantly surprised. So when you go in with 0 expectations and expect it to be bad and you find yourself actually enjoying it, that's when you get that's when like you actually like get a better attachment to a series because your standards were so low for it beforehand. So yeah, now I'm caught up through the manga because the anime obviously it ended at a certain point, but like most of the series I caught up through the anime. Stefan Green says, "Bro, History's Strongest Disciple Kenichi is such an underrated manga. I loved it. The action is drawn so well." Yeah, the action is drawn very, very well. I don't know how underrated it was because I thought it was very good. I thought it was up and down for me. I liked the end. There's a lot of aspects I liked of it. It definitely kept me hooked. I liked the nitty gritty we got to in terms of the techniques and stuff. I liked the ever expanding cast of characters and such. The overarching plot and some of the themes and things that we got into, like I think it got a little muddied or messier. I didn't vibe with lots of it, and there were certain flashbacks that kind of, keep in mind I was young, so I kind of got bored by parts of it. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. I'm shocked that that a lot of people never got into it, because to me it just seemed like, oh, isn't it just like a standard shonen like series that would be popular? It's about fighting. It's about like young kids. They're learning techniques. They got to battle. It just made sense to me. Did I see the Cowboy Bebop live action promo pics? I did, and I'm not excited for them. I think Cowboy Bebop. I think that too much of Cowboy Bebop's appeal comes from the style, right? I think too much of it comes from the style and how they animated certain things, how they, it was very artistic in a lot of its approach. So it's hard for me to imagine that translating well to live action, because the reality is that a lot of the individual episode to episode plots and stories were not the main, they weren't great. Some of them were, but it was a mixed bag, right? What you consistently got that was really good out of Cowboy Bebop was style, artistic approach, artistic direction of each episode. So if you're adapting it just to adapt it, it's not like you're getting like a treasure trove of great stories out of it, right? You're getting some great episodes and great stories, but a lot of it is not that, and a lot of it really does come from like how it was done. So already from the live action pics, I feel like something is missing that the anime had that just doesn't translate over well. But I'm not going to judge until I actually see it. You know, like maybe it actually is really good. Who knows? Like I think it's the reverse for One Piece. Not the reverse, that's not true, but I do think that One Piece, a lot more of its value does come from its storytelling and what it does with its characters. And then like, you know, obviously the manga style and everything like that, that matters, but I do think that there is a chance that you could translate One Piece's stories over to live action and they would hold up. It's just hard to really do it right, but like I see a chance at it. And I'm remaining optimistic. Shinua Alibatia says, Morge, doesn't Luffy feel completed like Jinbei? He doesn't develop much and feels more like a Paragon type character who changes the world around him, so what's the difference? You are very, very much right. But so that is how Oda wrote Luffy from the start, right? As a character, he is the mechanism for change for those around him. You could almost view Luffy as a messiah type figure in many ways, in that he keeps traveling from island to island and changing the people of said island, right? For the better, he brings the light to each island. He's essentially traveling through the world, literally starting from the east, heading towards the west, the east blue, the dawn, right? He's like the sun traveling through the world, bringing light wherever he goes. Eventually, he's going to take down the world government, etc., bring light to the world. That is essentially who Luffy is. Luffy's fundamental personality is never meant to change. The one area that Oda does develop Luffy and makes him take steps to improve, the one area is Luffy's progression from a boy to a king. That's the one area that arc to arc, not even arc to arc, but over the course of the story, Luffy does have to learn lessons and does have to have realizations. The first big arc, I'd say the first arc that we started seeing, the first saga that we started seeing traces of that was Alabasta, with Luffy learning bits and pieces of leadership or observing from Vivi, but that wasn't played up that heavily. Enies Lobby was the first time that Luffy had to grow from just one of the crew into being a captain, and that was the first big step for Luffy in that vein, right? Then from there, Marineford was Luffy realizing a lot of his limitations and how the path to becoming the king was a lot more complex and muddy than he initially believed. It removed a lot of his illusions in many ways. And now the next step in his journey that seems to make sense, if only Oda delves into it a little bit more, it seems right where we're at in the story makes sense for it to start developing, is Luffy taking that next step from just into becoming a king, right? And I've been talking about this from the start of the arc. This feels like an arc that we really will start to get to focus in on that more. I'm looking forward to Luffy's next interactions with Kaido, because this is the arc where Conqueror's Haki is becoming important. So the meaning of being a king, what it takes to be a king, that is stuff that is being played up heavily throughout the arc, and it's only becoming more important as the arc progresses. So that's Luffy's main progression through the story. Boy to a king, right? So he does actually have a significant character arc. It's just not at the forefront of the story all the time, but when it is very important to the story. So Luffy is a complete character in many, many ways in terms of everything Oda wants to say about freedom, strength of will, right, drive, ambition, all of that. So much of that is already encapsulated from Luffy in day one. Luffy is already Oda's depiction of a sort of ideal way of life. The one thing Luffy needs to learn is essentially how to grow into the role of being the king of the pirates, right? So that starts with Luffy essentially gathering his family, his friends, becoming a captain, learning what it takes to become a captain, learning what the level of the world is and what kind of like the climb to becoming Pirate King entails, and then finally growing into the shoes of becoming a king. So we see him becoming more and more like Roger over the like emulating Roger in some ways over the past couple of arcs. Hanata Sancho Yahuzugiri says Vegapunk considers Momo's fruit a failure because he was trying to copy Kaido's ancient race. That would be really weird if you're trying to copy a devil fruit, but then you accidentally copy like the race. Or no, sorry, you're trying to copy the race, but you accidentally copy the devil fruit. That would be like, yeah, like that just seems a little odd to me. Yeah, that just seems a little odd to me, like a really strange mistake to make. Attack on Titan is actually a seinen series, not a shonen. Yeah, I could kind of see that. Yeah, it feels way more than no. Attack on Titan feels way more of a seinen series than a shonen. All right, guys. We've been running for a while. I'm gonna answer one more question. No super chats. No super chats. I'm gonna read one more question from someone who I've not answered yet. This is how we used to do it. How do you feel about Zoro giving Sandai Kitetsu back to Hitetsu and leaving Wano with Shusui and Enma? I think, okay, I'll answer this and end it. I think Zoro is going to pick up Nidai Kitetsu by the end of Wano. I don't think that, I think Nidai Kitetsu is the next step up for Zoro, not picking Shusui back up. But Shusui, I don't know. I don't think Zoro is going to take Shusui again. Part of it is because Shusui is already a black blade. So to me, Zoro would not take a blade that has already been made black by somebody else. I think that's something personal that you do to your swords rather than just picking up from somebody else. So that's all for this stream. Guys, watch out for it. I'll put it up tomorrow, at some point on the second channel, Mr. Morge 2.